I think we still look in good shape. Obviously a long race to go, and other guys have had similar problems who are fighting for the win, so we're all sort of similarly in the same boat.
Well, let's see. Thanks very much for talking. Sean Edwards.
69 came in just a moment or two ago, and Phil up here, that's the Frederick Schmidt BMW. It was missing a wheel. It was one wheel short of a set as it came into the pit lane, but it made it into the pit lane anyway.
People have said that about me.
Well,
tell you what, John, there's several people waiting down by the penalty box to give their stop-and-go penalties. The teams have to give the stop-and-go penalty to the relevant cars.
The 15 car.
So we've got 2 down there at the moment. Yes, Jim, we've got the 15 Aston Martin, the Craft Racing car, which came in from to the pits from 3rd place, and a Nissan getting held in the penalty area as well, and tucked in behind there as well is one of the Ferraris, which I think is the number 11 car, Raffaele Gianmaria, and that car is having its 2nd penalty because that 11 car has already had a penalty. So I mean, yes, it was interesting to listen to Sean Edwards there, and the fact that he was complaining about the penalties being dished out, but I mean, we were watching the 60 kilometres an hour, and I have to say that some of them didn't quite seem to be as slow as others, and if they were, then you wouldn't have got that bunching up effect, because if everybody slowed to exactly the same speed, you wouldn't get any bunching at all.
Is that what the
it's a maximum,
penalties were for? Was for code 6? I was in the loop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, it was.
Let's go back. Jim. Let's go back to the pit lane and to Bruce Jones.
When I went in to find a driver for Mercedes number 1, it dipped sky blue, and I took Sean Edwards. Perhaps it was a good thing, because Jeroen Bleekemolen is bouncing off the ceiling at the moment. He's absolutely livid. I mean, this is a driver who does not get riled very much. He's really furious about the 2 penalties. Yes, there's a long way to go, but he's not feeling very happy at the moment. I'm sure he will calm down, but certainly it would have made good TV, not necessarily the best of radio.
The car is in the penalty box at the moment, Bruce, so I'm not quite sure whereabouts you are at the moment, but you must be fairly close to the Black Falcon team. Yes, I just can't see you.
I'm moving back towards it now.
Oh, yes. Now I can see you. That's fine. Yep, it worked out where you are now. And so the Black Falcon car in the penalty area at the moment, Ben Schneider at the wheel. He's coming up to a minute, if that's the penalty, and then he'll be released, or it might be even a longer penalty than that, because from what Sean was saying, Bruce, it was 2 things that they were penalised for, wasn't it? Because there was a yellow flag infringement, and then that's too fast under purple infringement as a separate one, so they're being held twice.
It's happened again. There are 13 cars in the fueling area. We just got a glimpse from one of the onboards of how crowded it is down there, and they are holding people. So a queue has formed. We have fully 13 people that have made a call to the fueling area. And for 8 pumps, 6 of them petrol.
And Schneider, having taken his penalty, is going straight for fuel. So his stop was 1.5 minutes, or possibly even a little bit longer, but he didn't stop at the pit garage. He went straight, and he's
only been in there for 10 minutes, hasn't he?
He's going to be disappointed when he gets there.
He's not, because there's a big queue coming out now, so I think he'll probably be okay, because I've just seen at least 5 cars come out. But we'll see what the overall pit stop is at the end of this. Yeah, I mean, you've got to sympathise with Sean Edwards' point, but it does open the race up, and you've also got to be cleverer than just driving fast. I mean, you've got to work out a little bit more what's going on around you.
What was his complaint? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah,
they'd gone across the line as the code 60 was thrown, and therefore they didn't see the flag until further down the straight, and the last sector was too fast. I'm guessing the last lap across the line was too fast.
Okay.
And the other thing was that he said was for overtaking under yellow, but
I thought they gave them a little bit of leeway as to when they actually. I thought they gave them like a corner station to leeway to get slowed down.
I'm not arguing with the officials. They are protesting it.
No, that's not. I wasn't arguing with the officials either. I was giving the officials the benefit.
They've protested it. If there's been, I'm sure if there's been any error, then it will be recognised, and then that possibly could be put right. They presumably, well, they've answered the pit stop, haven't they? They've answered the penalty, so they're not going to get that back now. But have they only answered one of the two? That's the question.
Well, it was over a minute and a half, the penalties. I suspect they've probably gone for both of them. We've also had a pit stop whilst we've been talking about it. I don't think we mentioned the leader came in and has got going again. The Stadler Motorsport car of Marco Seyfried has now been handed over to Marcel Matter, one of many Swiss drivers. And so Marcel Matter is now back out. What I didn't quite see was whether he got out ahead of the J-Lock Lamborghini or not, but I don't think he did, in fact. But we'll tell you at the end of the lap.
I don't think so either.
So we may well have yet another leader of the race in the shape of the J-Lock Lamborghini.
And that would be our 7th?
The 7th leader, if it is in the lead. Yes, that's right. So 7 changes of lead, 7 different leaders, with one car having had the lead on 2 occasions.
Now we still have vision on the website, but we will be coming back with TV in about 15 minutes time. For those of you, if you're not sure whether you can see television, you are just joining us. The TV coverage is listed on www.24hdubai.com. Motors TV in Europe among the people who are taking the feed, but there are a number of television stations around the world, some English language, some not, who are taking the feed. If it's English language, then you'll hear our commentary on that, so there is an opportunity for you to check on the event website and have a look, or of course you can keep it on your computer with the streaming video.
That's what I do.
Into the pit lane, in fact into refuelling goes which car? Bruce, I didn't quite catch that, sorry.
BMW number 12, and the good thing for him, there's only one other car in there, so he has a choice of 3 different pumps, no queues, straight in. So that, little things like this can make a huge difference.
Yes.
And I mean,
well, the 24 car on the first Code 60 was a total mess up. 24 car on the third Code 60 fell right in their lap.
Yeah.
Fell right in their lap.
Already in the pit lane, effectively, weren't they?
Yep.
Yes, I mean, you do have your own team at the fueling station, so two-way radio has been invented to enable that kind of thing to be sorted out.
But I'd say one thing, Paul. If you're in garage number 1 and there's suddenly a code 60, you can't get your pit crew down there fast enough. You can't just afford to leave a few on deck chairs down there just in case, but they've got quite a long sprint to get down to pit exit to go to the fueling station.
Do you know what though, Bruce? I'd leave one person down there all the time.
And so would I. Yes.
I would.
There are deck chairs down there as well, I noticed when I was having a little wander around earlier today. The BMW that was thrown against the wall, or which had a mechanical failure and was uncontrollable and then fell against the wall, is being loaded onto the flatbed trailer. There's a degree of cement dust having to be put down on the liquids which have come out of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of liquid that came out of it.
And I don't know, it's been... The Code 60 came out 14 minutes ago, so we lost 26 minutes on the second Code 60, 8 minutes on the first Code 60. So...
How many Code 60s did we have last year?
Do you know, I looked that up and I couldn't find the answer. It was at least 2, but it wasn't very many.
Yeah,
no, I didn't think it was that many.
I didn't think so either.
I got 2 that I could record, but then I realised that I hadn't been as good with my recording as I should have been.
If you're watching on the live stream now, you will see the purple Code 60 flag with the it's almost like a skull and crossbones, doesn't it? The big 60 in the middle. I said this last year. It was the first time that we'd seen it. I don't think it's perfect. I think it needs a little bit of refinement. I'm not sure how, but it just needs the little rough edges taken from it. But I do think that it is. It's got its pluses and minuses, but I do think it's better than 3 pace cars. Way better than 3 pace cars or even 2 pace cars on a
but you can't manipulate the race.
And I like Paul's idea of partial code 60 as well on longer circuits. It's effectively what they do at the Nürburgring. He's absolutely right.
And you could do that at Le Mans.
You could do that at Le Mans.
60.
Yeah, you could do that at Le Mans easily.
A change of lead is about to happen because the Japanese Lamborghini Owners Club Lamborghini is coming through the final turn and is about to cross the start-finish line.
And he didn't take it.
No, Marcel's gone through.
Yeah.
Marcel's already gone through. But there's not a lot in it, is there?
15 seconds it's down to now. It was 20.
And that's 15 seconds at 60 kilometres an hour, which is nothing at all. That's nose to tail once they...
so that means the Stadler Motorsport... The Porsche, the number 20 Porsche, the Stadler Motorsport car, I knew I wouldn't be able to say that if I went straight back to it, has got in and out and made its second pit stop without losing the lead.
Yes, but at the same time, the Japanese Lamborghini did make a pit stop as well.
Third pit stop,
so
yes,
they both made pit stops, and I just thought that they would get out in the other order, but it's a very close run thing.
Interesting now, we have 3 AM cars in the top 5.
First, third, and fifth.
Yep.
All right.
You see, this is the fallacy of pitting to fuel under code 60, because I don't think it necessarily makes sense, but there we go, they're doing it, and it may be catching out the leading ones. I mean, the leading... the Pro A6 cars do have this problem that they have less refueling allowance. So when the car is getting low, they're not allowed to fill it up all the way to the top. They can only fill it up as far as their refueling limit will allow them to. Right, the safety cars, intervention vehicles have all come back, as far as I can see. The track where... part of the track where the BMW went off seems to have been cleared of marshals, BMWs and other support vehicles, so I'm suspicious that the green flag, in fact there goes the green flag now on the start-finish line.
And it comes out on at least 2 other spots that I'm watching at exactly the same time across the circuit. That's one good thing about where we're sitting. Although down at the end of the start-finish straight, people are still moving slowly. They haven't seen the green flag and they're going to be caught out by cars coming very quickly. Jim, some information from you.
Yeah, Phil has just updated us and a clarification. There are actually 5 two-sided pumping stations. We miscounted earlier, apparently. There are 5 two-sided pumping stations, and both have petrol and diesel.
Right.
So it isn't 6 and 2, it's 10 pumping stations, 10 diesel opportunities, 10 petrol opportunities.
Yeah, but only 10 opportunities in total.
Yes, so when there's 13 cars there, there's still going to be a queue.
There's 3 guys
It's not as bad of a queue as I was making it out to be.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I stand corrected, because Bruce had told me that earlier on as well, so apologies to Bruce, but I was going by what it says in the regulations, and the regulations state fairly clearly how many of each pump they're going to be. But whether they've decided that's how they're going to do it,
well, that could be before they had 80 cars, too.
Maybe. Somebody has just gone wide and is rejoining the circuit at turn 9. I saw as they were going onto the main straight. That might have just been cold tyres, because there were quite a few who were weaving a little bit, but they've got going again. It just went onto the rough edges on the side of the circuit.
Great time of night this, with the sun just beginning to drop. We've got about another half an hour out in the distance directly in front of us. We've got now a very clear view down onto the
change of lead on the track. It was so close as it went green that Takayuki Aoki in the Lamborghini has got himself ahead of Marcel Matters-Stadler Porsche, John. So change of lead on lap 79.
And has gone through and gapped a 1.5 second lead. So that is now the seventh car to have led. And the first time I've had a Lamborghini in the lead, I think, isn't it?
No,
it's not.
Second. The 9 car was
Fatien led, of course. Yes.
Yep. He with the shaking fist.
It was Fabien Giroir.
Yeah,
right team, wrong driver.
Yeah. Beautiful evening, as I was about to see from the onboard pictures now, if you're watching on the... Well, if we look to the left, we can see the whole of the downtown area of Dubai. If we look straight across,
which we haven't been able to see much of,
and if we look straight across, we can see that beautiful needle of the Burj beginning to catch the setting sun, and it does really come to life.
This is the clearest it's been since we've been here.
This is the clearest it's been since last Friday. This is, as Curry would say, an HD day. This is an HD evening, because all of a sudden somebody has turned up the resolution on the world, and it's just stunning here. In fact, we can see both the Burj now, quite easily, and earlier on we couldn't see even half that distance. On board with the Nissan, one of the Nissan 370s, looking backwards at a huge amount of quick traffic coming in. What we haven't done for a while, and I just wanted to let a lap or two, Jim, go by before we join our TV colleagues in 5 minutes' time. Just do a quick rundown of some of the class leaders. Takayuki Aoki leads A6 Pro and leads the race by 6.8 seconds. 2 minutes 11 by Marcel Mata last time around has dropped them away from the back of that Lamborghini. He's in second place in the number 20 Stadler Motorsport Porsche and leads A6 AM. In the 997 category, it's Christian Raubach at the wheel of the number 44 Black Falcon TMD Friction team. SB2 is the 20th position on the front page of timing. Is the Bonk Motorsports Chevy Corvette. That's the 126 car. And
Peter Bonk behind the wheel.
Then we have a whole different timing and scoring page. The 148 car now leads SP3.
Continuing to lead from earlier.
Yeah, it's the Lotus Evora, isn't it? The Oyster Racing Lotus Evora.
And then in A5.
Oh, drama in the pit lane as down comes car number 8.
Carlo Lossa from 7th place. His left rear wheel is hanging off the rim.
Okay,
Low.
Okay, so that's a tyre problem rather than a wheel problem, or is it?
Tyre rather than wheel there, John. Sorry, misleading in my excitement. I looked out of a garage and thought that's sitting a bit low. Oh yes, I can see why.
Thank you. Continuing our rundown of the classes, in Class A5 in 27th position is the number 63, which is the Peter Van Stolen entered BMW E46 GTR. That's the A5 leader. A3T Racing Divas are leading. The 121 BMW has got to the head of the A3T category. And Xander van der Sloot is leading, is driving that car at the moment. And a couple more leaders to come. And the A2 I should be looking for. That's the 102 car of the Bezaplast Racing Team Mini Cooper. They are very good at running those minis. They were the front runners in pretty much the whole race last year. And I've missed out the, I think the A4 leaders of the Eric Vincenot BMW 130 as well, who are leading. They're down in 57th. Thank you. And the 115 is leading the D1 category. Now that, I think, is the SVDP Racing BMW 120p, and that's a change. And there's a big thumbs up from Phil there, because he knows that team. And that is a change, and that's Chris Budnick who's driving that car at the moment. I think that is all the class leaders. So all the class leaders now are in the top 60 runners here, which has not always been. It's Sleuth. I should have said for Sandra van der Sloot. Thank you, Marcel, for letting me know that. I shall remember that now. So that is all of the class leaders for you, with just a couple of moments before we join in sound and vision with our colleagues from television around the world. Obviously, some of you are watching the pictures that we're already seeing with the onboard with Sandra van der Sloot in the Racing Divas car. The 121 BMW, just on that right front wing there. So just a couple of minutes or so before we join up again with our live TV broadcasts. And Nick Damel will welcome back the worldwide TV audience from I think the starter stand is where Nick is at the moment, if I'm not very much mistaken. Yes, there he is. He's just giving me a little wave down there. Yeah, don't do the dance, Nick. It doesn't become you, really. I remember at the end of this TV segment, if you've enjoyed it, stay with us on RadioLeMans.com. And hello to Ann Roller in Denver, North Carolina, who is listening in. And yes, she is related. 12.2 seconds now as Tayuki Aoki puts the fastest lap in for the lead car, 2:03.0, and stretches his lead to 12.2 seconds over Marcel Matter in second. And Jörg Muller in the 24 in third has just done a 2:02.055. So all of a sudden, just as we can see, once again, the guys at Crevendig have got this perfectly right, because just as we're about to go back to live television, it's all coming back to life again. Quite remarkable.
They come to the production meeting.
Just okay, guys, don't forget, when we get back to live television, you've got to go mad. Got to go absolutely bonkers again. Magic stuff. There is the second place car heading down the back straight. For those of you listening on RadioLeMans.com or on the website, we'll just break away for a moment while we join in with television. But don't worry, nothing has gone wrong. And the sun in the eyes is going to be an issue for the next half an hour. Sunset is just before 6 o'clock this evening. And again, thanks to Marcel for his assistance. I'll get this right in a moment. Sorry, I misread. Sandra van der Sloot. Thank you, Marcel. I misread what he had sent me.
What did he send? What is it?
He's just telling me how to pronounce the Dutch names. So you're listening to 87.6 Autodrome FM around the circuit and around the world. RadioLeMans.com, powered by Nissan, and our live coverage of the Dunlop 24 Hours of Dubai continues right to the checkered flag at 2 o'clock local tomorrow afternoon, when we will be crowning a victor. Will it be a new one? And some new names on the trophy. Well, you'll have to stay with us to find out. Nick Damon will welcome back our international TV audience in just a few moments' time.
Welcome back here to Dubai and the 8th running of the Dubai 24 Hours at the Dubai Autodrome. Well, you've only been away for about an hour and a half. We've had some absolutely fantastic action. Code 60s, we've seen accidents, we've seen fantastic driving. And to tell you exactly what's been going on since you've been away, we have Paul Truswell, Jim Roller, but first, John Hindhoff.
Thank you, Nick. It's caught me out slightly. The sun will be below the skyline shortly. Sunset here just before 6 o'clock local time. It's just after 5:30 here in the UAE, and Dubai does not look any better than it does at sunset. It's cleared up completely. You would think it was a completely different day, different weather system, different climate, certainly different season than it was this morning when all was grey. This beautiful golden light is bringing the surroundings and the backdrop of the city of Dubai, which effectively is all around us here on three sides. We look out to see the development up onto the coastline. We're pretty much looking directly north from where we are at the moment, off to our left, we can see the major development, and then further over, the needle of the Burj poking up into the evening sky and just catching the falling sun. Looks particularly attractive at this time of night. It was designed to do just that. And I think we'll probably get the light show this evening if it stays as clear as that. And there's some very clever things done with neon around these parts. As it stands at the moment, we've had a very interesting couple of hours that have been, well, we've had a couple of code 60s in there, but it has allowed Paul Truswell here on our right to start to gather some of the data that might become important later on. I'm not sure we've had quite enough yet, Paul, straight running with Takeuchi Aoki leading, by the way, in the number 19 J-Lock, the Japanese Lamborghini Owners Club, making our 7th leader by now 13 seconds from Marcel Mutter, which is the car that we were watching, and there is the leader. I'm not quite sure, Paul, we've gathered quite enough data to start making any prognostications.
No, I do agree, and I'm not able to do that just yet. What the impact has been of these code 60 periods, though, which are basically caution periods, full course yellows, but not regulated behind a safety car. Everybody slows down to 60, maintains their position, and the idea is that no overtaking happens. But we've had 2 of them, and they've both delayed people. Now, you can take a strategical decision whilst the code 60 is in and say, okay, whilst everybody's going slowly, I'll go in and get some more fuel.
Yeah.
The trouble is, because there's a limited amount of fuel filling stations available, if everybody does that, it doesn't work and it backfires on you. You end up losing more time than you've gained. So this is why we've got this, I won't say bizarre, but this slightly unexpected situation of the number 19 Japanese Lamborghini leading the way, the all-white car.
Having just taken the lead, 5 or 6 minutes ago,
from Marcel Matter. Marcel Matter in the Stadler Motorsport Porsche has just taken over that car. He isn't quite able to hit the lap times every time. Because he's an AM, he has to hit 2 minutes 05. If he goes under 2 minutes 05, ultimately it will cost him. He's allowed to go under 10 times, but any more than that and it will start costing him. So they are restricted because they're an AM car. And they are a good way ahead of the best of the rest, which is currently the number 24 BMW, the Saudi Falcons BMW, which is run by the Schubert team. Jörg Müller in number 24 is in 3rd place. The other car, which was battling for the lead earlier on, number 12, is languishing back in 8th place, just ahead of the number 1 Mercedes of the Black Falcon team, which has Bert Schneider at the wheel. Those two having lost out because of the purple code 60 situations. As into the pits, Jim, comes the race leader.
Indeed, and this is after only 28 minutes, Paul, so this certainly can't be scheduled unless they are doing one of the situations where during the code 60 they didn't fuel. They just...
I think he's filling it back to the top to do a full stint.
Right.
To give him another hour and a half, so then he can get out as close to 2 hours as possible.
That's right.
I think that's what. So I think what
they probably did the service and got him in the car.
He'll now go straight to fuel.
He'll go straight to fuel. No.
Oh, he's not.
Making a liar out of both of us.
Wow. Well, let's see what's happening here. They're looking at the car. The door is open, and he's getting out. He's getting out, and he's limping a little bit. Oh, did he catch his foot? Second driver getting in there. So Takeuchi Aoki gets out of the leading car. They're not putting tyres on it. That's very interesting. So does the driver have an issue?
Well,
he's staying there and having a look.
They're looking
looking around the back of the car. That was his drinks bottle that he tripped over as he came out.
Having another look underneath the car.
There's the Paul Truswell patented headlamp there. Literally a lamp on the head. Well, fires, it goes now. Shuley will pull hard right into... No, he's gone straight out, hasn't he? No, he has gone into fuel.
Yeah, he's gone into fuel. He's gone into fuel.
Has to, really.
Yep.
So that means Marcel Matt's back in the lead again in the A6 AM car, the 20 Stadler Motorsport car, the white car with the black and red stripe. There is the number 20. Still just over 20, almost 20 and a half hours still to go. Paul, I was just going to make a comment there when you were talking about this Pro-Am.
That's the 88 trying to get his lap back.
Correct.
From the 20 car. They are both AM cars.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a good point.
That's the 88 car trying to get his lap back from the number 20 Porsche. He's 4th overall, but 2nd in the AM class. It's a very important pass if he can make it.
And it looks like he has got a quick car underneath him, Jordan Groker, one of the metal salesmen in that car, with the 2 metal salesmen and metal traders, should I say, and oh my goodness me, Jörg Muller, all 4 wheels off the circuit. He is going to get a warning for that.
That's not respecting the the track boundaries.
He could have gone the other way, or he
Yes,
could have lifted off. And you can't just say, well, I had a slower car ahead of me. That car was doing its normal time. And again, we see the dust coming up from the back wheels. Paul, before anything else happens, I want to get this thought out. When you were talking about Pro-Am, I'm just going to throw this in and see what you think of this. The Pro cars this year can go as quick as they want, and they are just basically head down. And I wonder if, because the guys are running in the AM cars at the 205 lap limit, I wonder if they are slightly more tactically savvy because they know there needs to be, and therefore are thinking out some of their decisions just a little bit more than the guys in the Pro who think, well, we've got all the speed, all we've got to do is do what we do.
I think that's right, at risk of upsetting certain team managers, it's a little bit of an abrogation of the team manager responsibility. By going pro, in some ways they're saying, look, this is a race, it's for racing drivers, it's not about setting a particular lap time. And they're kind of saying, over to you drivers, you go as fast as you can. And to an extent, I do agree with you. However, I do think it gives you more flexibility if you're running a pro car.
Yes.
Because you've got that ability to make up speed, you make up time if something goes wrong.
Where I see it really counting, Jim, is in the last couple of hours. If you are chasing somebody down, ultimately you're going to run out of joker laps if you're being chased down, and it doesn't matter who you've got in the car. If you're only doing 205 and the guy behind you can do 201, even if he's not doing it every lap, he is going to be able to break down and chase down potentially quite a large gap relatively quickly, and that's the problem. You won't be able to then respond, and you've got to have it right at the end.
Exactly, you've got to have it right at the end, because you'll have a lap time, a minimum lap time that you won't be able to better, and that's going to limit your ability to come back. And we've already seen it. If you were with us in the first hour, you saw a great 3-way battle between the 1 car, the 15 car, and the 24 car, and they got the first code 60 all wrong, but they have all been able to fight back, and we can give you an update on that shortly.
Jörg Muller with, a minute and a half between himself now and Marcel Mette up into 2nd place. Jordan Groger up into 3rd now, of course. He's a further 30 seconds back. Now, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about as we go on board once again with the Racing Divas for a moment, and just look how much the driver there is being thrown around.
And that's the car the seat was moving around in that car yesterday.
It still is.
Yes.
But I noticed there's a number of cars that are getting a lot more
moving around.
Yeah, that's not as bad as it was yesterday, Cassandra, in fairness.
Yeah. To finish our point, not only do we have 3, well, we had 3 AM cars in the top 5 for a while, but now we have 2, 1st and 3rd, the 20 and the 88. But those cars we were talking about earlier, the 24, the 15, and the 1 in order are 2nd, 7th, and 9th. And after after they got the code 60 so wrong, they were mired in the mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
And they have worked all the way back in just 2 hours.
Yeah, but look also what's happened. Remember that one car was leading. He's had to make an extra pit stop now for those penalties.
Yeah.
The 24 has made 3 pit stops and is way up the road by a lap, so their fortunes have changed somewhat. And just making the point about chasing somebody down, the gap between Jörg Müller and Marcel Mettner, the 20 and the 24 car at the head of the field, Jörg Müller just did a 2:03, Marcel Mettner did a 2:09. Now, that's not a great lap for Marcel anyway. He's now come back with a 2:06.4, and Jörg does a 2:04.8. So that gap is going to come down quite quickly, sometimes 2 or 3 seconds in a lap, and Marcel can't really go any much quicker than he's going at the moment.
Right, but Jörg isn't going to be able to go that much quicker than a 2:04 either because of traffic.
Yes.
We haven't seen many 2:03s well, we've seen some. We haven't seen many 2:03s. 2:04 seems to be about the best you can do race pace. And Marcel at a 2:06 and at 4 still has a second and a half he can improve. A second and 4/10 he can improve.
If you want to get in touch with us here at the booth overlooking the start-finish straight, as in comes the number 111.
Second trip into the garage for that car.
Yeah, it hasn't been an easy afternoon already for the Frank Leon Provost GC Automobile rather, V8 in the SP2 category. At Radio Le Mans or at Specutainment, a mixture of speculation and entertainment. And also you can go to radiolemans.com. We have a forum on there which has got a live chat as well. Still well over 20 hours to go, and I feel quite fresh. You know, it feels as though
because it's been exciting. It's been exciting. I think we said that earlier. People ask us, how can you go and be alert for 24 hours? Well, when the racing is as good as this racing is, it's very easy to stay awake, isn't it, Paul?
Well, yes, I mean, you should be able to stay awake when it's only 6:15 in the evening. No, I mean...
Not everywhere.
The thing... right. It was ever thus. The thing that is going to hold the attention on this race, as Jim was just saying, is the way that the pro cars who we would expect to be up at the front based on their qualifying times, based on their form, based on arguably the first half hour of the race, are a long way back, and it is inevitable that they're going to move up the field as the race progresses. And what we have to try and do, what I have to try and do, and you'll try and help me to do it, is to see the rate at which they're moving up the field and see if it's good enough for them to get to the lead and stay there, because the problem is they might not be able to stay there because of their reduced fueling amounts.
Well, and one of the things that happened, you might be asking, how has the 24 gotten back to second when the 15 is in 7th and the 1 car is in 9th? While all 3 of them got the first code 60 incorrect, the 24 car had the 3rd one fall right in their lap, and that is what has allowed them to get right back into the hunt.
Let's go down into the pit lane where Nick Damon is back on duty with the man who sat on pole position here last year, and we talked to him right at the start of the race about tactics which seem, Nick, to have paid off for the 88. Jordan Groger in 3rd position at the moment, and Rob Barth must be quite happy about that.
Well, Mr. Hindhoff says your tactics are paying off, are they?
It looks that way. If you look at the time that the professional drivers who are in the pro class are doing, there's only a handful of them sub 2:05, which is the time that we kind of saw as our theoretical best, and of course is the benchmark time in the Pro-Am. So yeah, no, it's working out well.
Were you surprised how a number of the teams completely lost the plot during the first Code 60?
Yes, Nick, it was... We were quite unfortunate with where we were, and I was amazed that more people didn't box before us. But we got a break at the second Code 60 that helped us gain that time back, and that's where we really went from about P10 up to about P5, which is where Geordie's now circulating.
Now, the only downside is you've used several of your joker laps. Was that deliberate on your case at the start, or just a bit of bad luck?
No, first 2 were deliberate. Matt used 1. I think if you go with a pack of cars, you're in more danger trying to drive slowly. You've got to kind of find your position and then blend back into the traffic, which is what I did from about the 4th lap onwards. But look, dude, it's an enormously long way to go. We're doing very well at the moment. Leon's going to be next into the car. He's rattled around here doing 6s and 7s in testing. And then we're into the night. So, yeah, it's really well so far.
Now, an interesting point. Do you get a feel during a lap with traffic whether you're going to be touching that 205? Do you know what's slowing you down as you go past someone or you're stuck behind someone?
Yeah, the general rule of thumb is that you push hard through the first 2 sectors to buy yourself a margin for error if you run into traffic in the last sector where you've got a couple of hairpins back to back, and then you just blend out through the last corner up to the line. It's not a huge lift by any stretch of the imagination. It's a very light or a late application of power, Nick, but yeah, push like mad through the first 2/3 and then back off the last quarter.
Now, you're third overall. Are you more concerned about the pro team in front of you or the amateur team in front of you?
We're only here for the amateurs.
Oh, right, okay, doomed, I believe you.
You know, we are a pro-am team. I've said it from day one. 2 pros, 2 amateurs. We are exactly what it says on the tin.
But if you come first, you still come first.
And a team doing exactly that did that last year with Khaled. They ran to that 2:05 lap time, so we'll see.
Rob, thanks a lot. Cheers, buddy.
Rob Barth with, I mean, he's just such a thinking driver, part of the team. I'm sure that he has had some input into the tactics, Paul.
Absolutely. No, I mean, he is a thinking driver, and you only had to see what happened during qualifying last year. I mean, he wanted to be out of the way and was up at the front of the field last year. I just have to correct what he said slightly. He probably wasn't quite paying attention when Matt Griffin was in the car, but Matt did actually use up 2 jokers, or as well as Rob using 2 jokers. So they've used 4 of the 10 jokers that they're allowed to use. Just to clarify, when you've run out of jokers, the penalty is a drive-through penalty. It's not a stop and go. It's just a drive-through, and then you can
Drive-through every time.
A drive-through for every joker that you don't have.
Every lap you break out.
Yeah.
And it is only the A6 AM cars that have those 10 jokers. Everybody else who's got a reference time must stick to it. There is the Dragon Racing second place A6 AM car with Jordan Groger at the wheel at the moment. It should be said actually that Rob Barth, I've worked with Rob Barth as in the commentary booth before, and he's an I
bet he'd be pretty good.
No, he's not pretty good. He's absolutely outstanding, because his ability to distill the situation as he's just done there with Nick into a few words is superb. He reads a race very well indeed. That's Rob Barth in his natural environment, in an endurance racing pit lane. And when he decides to stop driving, and let's hope that's not for quite some time yet, because he is an excellent driver, perhaps not as well known as he should have been, and certainly, for my money, among a raft of drivers that I could name who has not had the success and the recognition that they deserve. But he has got a future going into team management, or certainly team strategy, because he has a mind like a steel trap.
I've seen him on a cricket pitch as well, and he's quite useful with a bat.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's handy to know.
You've seen him as well, I think.
Yeah. DailySportsCar.com cricket match has always been good. Stuart Hall, of course, is
one game I'm
very
dying
good.
to try.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to play proper baseball. So,
well, I'll take you to the batting cage if you take me to the cricket equivalent.
Okay, the nets, as it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
No,
just over 20 hours to go. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just started saying Marcel Matter isn't able to do, although he's got the lead of the race back, having had that pit stop for the Japanese Lamborghini, but the Stadler Motorsport Porsche, it's just gone through again, a 2 minutes 07. The previous lap he did was a 2 minutes 09. Now, as we were hearing from Rob Barth, that the reference lap time, the target lap time, is 2 minutes 05. And even though he's leading the race, he needs to be getting closer to 2:05 more often. And what Rob was saying was, if you push early on, then you've got that flexibility later on. So, you know, it's a difference perhaps between what Marcel Matter is able to do with that Stadler Porsche with what the other drivers were doing, because the other ones were doing a better job, John.
Oh, that's what Bert Schneider looks like coming up your tailpipes. Dear me. Jörg Muller is pushing 2:04 last time around, and a low 2:04 that, but a 2:01 by Bernd Schneider last time around as he went by Frank Yu up into 7th position. It's all starting to happen, and Jörg Muller is chasing down Marcel Matter. It's 1:17. Remember, not so very long ago, it was 1:35, and that is the kind of difference it can make when you haven't got a reference lap time to drive to. Just wonder if there is a problem with that Stadler Motorsport car, or whether Marcel's he's been in there for 40 minutes now. He's had a little bit of purple, which is not fastest lap here necessarily. It's code 60 running. Still only done the 2 pit stops though, and he's an hour away, or just under 50 minutes away from doing another.
Speaking of purple, is that 2:01.8 the fastest race lap so far?
Bernd Schneider. We've had a 59. I think
we have had a 59 in the race
since Claudia Hurtgen, round about lap 3 or 4.
Really? Okay.
I'm only repeating what Nick's saying in my ear.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't remember that. Nick's actually saying that in my ear. Thank you, Nick. Also, now Bernd Schneider's next target is his teammate, which is Sergei Afanasiev. 12 seconds up the road as he got back on board with the Racing Divas for a moment before we pick up Bernd back on the racetrack. And
just swallowing up traffic.
Oh, Bernd Schneider, when he is in the groove, there is nothing better to watch in sports cars. And he's no spring chicken, as he will be the first to admit. Multiple touring car champion in Germany. That Mini's had a crunch up the front, hasn't it? And it's now not as it left the Cowley plant at Oxford. Schneider got his head round DTM very quickly, but before that, I mean, watching him drive.
He was in DTM when Dario was in DTM.
Yeah, when it was ITC.
Ah, that's right.
And those cars were monsters. 4-wheel drive, modular design. Those things were beasts. Also, of course, a prototype driver for Mercedes-Benz.
That's right.
Always good with that.
C111s. The 19 car serving a penalty, and then
that was Hideki Yamauchi.
Yeah, serving a 30-second penalty, and then heading to his pit box or to fuel. We'll let you know as soon as we know.
And that is that car. He is pulled up at his pit box, so he is going to take some service while he's in the pit lane. That's allowed. So just over 20 hours still to go as we approach 6 o'clock, and
actually that was a head fake. He went straight out.
He did go straight out. That was a different car I was watching. My apologies. As the all-Ilkel Mini, I'm afraid, has got some serious issues there. The sunset officially is about 9. It's about now, rather.
I should say 9, really? It's in 3 hours.
As Marcel Matter goes through on a 2:08.4, leading the race, and Bernd Schneider has cut the deficit between himself and his Mercedes teammate Sergei Afanasiev to just 9.5 seconds. A lot of people asking why various brands of cars that aren't normally associated with Nismo have Nismo banners on them. They are a sponsor of the event, as are Dunlop, and that's why you'll see probably the first and only time you'll ever see a Porsche, a Lamborghini, an Aston Martin, a BMW, a Mercedes-Benz, etc., with the tuning arm of the Nissan Motor Company on them. Smart move, I think, by the people at Nissan.
That's classic guerrilla marketing right there. It's classic guerrilla marketing.
Certainly is.
Or ambush marketing, as they call it in the United States.
We're starting to get into the darkness now, and it will get dark very quickly. We always get asked around this time what's happening with the lights. There are some lights around the track, but by no means is this track floodlit as Le Mans is. Certainly, I would say it's probably darker than Sebring and definitely than Road Atlanta. probably a little bit lighter just because of the ambient light around here is greater than somewhere like Silverstone for the Brit Car 24, and certainly the Nürburgring out on the Nordschleife sort of falls in between those two and the better lit tracks that we have the 24-hour races on. We haven't updated you on the class positions for a little while, so let me quickly run down for you. Marcel Matter leads the race and therefore leads A6 Am in the number 20 Stadler Motorsport Porsche. Jörg Müller is in second, now just 1 minute and 8 seconds behind, and leads A6 Pro for the 24 Saudi Falcons in the BMW Z4. Erwin Stückel in the number 44 Porsche leads the 997 Porsche class, and that is the Black Falcon team, TMD Friction. He's down in 18th position, having covered 91 laps to the leaders 96. In SP2 in the fuel station at the moment, it is the number 98 Akib Verschoor Renault Megane Trophy. Next up is the Core-Oyster Racing Lotus, the 148 car with Henk Tyson in the car. They lead SP3 in position 25. In position 34, the A5 leader is Koen Bogets, and that is the number 63, which is the Steve Van Belleghem BMW Silhouette car. They've been doing pretty well there. The Racing Divas, the 121, are still leading the A3T class, and they're leading it by a couple of laps now. The 121 BMW in 36th position overall. In Class A2, the number 102 Bezeplast Mini with Thomas Tekart at the wheel. So I've said that from memory, and I'm now going to have to just check to make sure that that is the correct car. So that, yes, I have. That's the Mini Cooper S. Phew. And then it's 79, the Eric Vansenor BMW 130i in 57th position that leads A4, and the 115 SVDP Racing from here in the UAE, the BMW 120D leads the diesel class, but by only a lap or so from Chris Gleeson in the 116 car, which is next on the timing and scoring monitor, which is a Seat Leon 2-litre TDI. So there you are. That gets you up to date just before we click over another hour of racing here, with a 105.9 last time around by Marcel Matter, and that's much more like it.
Yeah.
He needs to be sub 206. I don't think anybody's going to mind if he's in the sort of 205.5 to 206 area, Paul.
He can do it, and he has been in the 205s before, but what he can't do is to do it on every lap.
He's not taking.
I think that's a traffic issue.
I was going to say, I don't think he's taking any risks through traffic.
It is, and the whole point of the A6 AM class is that it is a mixture of pro and amateur drivers, or gentleman drivers and professional drivers, and so inevitably there are going to be times during the race when your professional racing driver is in the car and he's able to hit the 2 minutes 5 pretty much every time, and there are going to be times when the other drivers, the amateur drivers, are in the car and they're not able to hit the lap times. That will also happen to Rob Barth's car. I mean, they've got Jordan Grover in the car at the moment. He's a sort of, I wouldn't say he's a semi-professional because he's a pure amateur driver, but he's had experience. We'll see what happens when Leon Price gets in the car later on, because he has less experience still. But it will affect the ability of the AM cars to keep going and maintain those top positions. Interesting to see what will happen to the 6th, 7th and 8th placed cars, who are 12 cars numbers 1, 12 and 15, the 3 cars that were most affected by the earlier Code 60s, and they should be able to get their way back up into the leading group. But because they've got less fuel to use on every pit stop, they will have to pit more often, and the other factor which will pan out as the race gets into the full darkness and we get this long night here in Dubai. 14 hours of darkness we've got ahead of us coming up. Look of delight.
Whoa, that is the 17 McLaren with Klaus Hummel 4th position, and there's the first major contact between two cars out on the circuit. It looks worse than it is because there is a marker involved, and when I say that I mean one of the brake markers which are made of polystyrene. And well, Klaus Hummel is fine. The front of the Chopard-sponsored McLaren isn't too bad. Now, what happened here was one of the Aston Martins coming back on the circuit, and Hummel goes around the front of it. That is the 151.
The Bauhaus Aston Martin.
The Bauhaus, the beautiful car. Perfection Racing car. Now, who is at the wheel of that at the moment?
Philippe.
Thank you. On the
He's in the pits. He's got going again, and he's in the pits. So is the McLaren in the pits. So both
that
of them
was not
in the
incidental contact, was it? That was quite heavy, and the McLaren team will want to look immediately at the right rear of that car. Oh, I think he's got away with that fairly lightly.
Doesn't even see like there's any tire damage. It doesn't look like there's any damage at all.
Wow! If that car is really, really lucky. It was much more than a glancing blow. As I said, it looked worse than it was because the brake marker was destroyed and turned into polystyrene dust. But it's great because somebody will be able to pack it around their trophy and put it in a box and take it home.
That's right. That's right.
It's nice.
Bernd Schneider has climbed all the way to 4th position while we were watching that.
Yeah.
He's quietly continued to move up.
Well, one of the cars he's passed, of course, is Klaus Hummel, who was involved in that incident. He's dived straight into the pits. He's gone past his teammate Sergei Afanasiev and gapped him by 2 seconds. Faisal bin Laden moves up as well, of course, in the number 12 Saudi Falcons by Schuber BMW into 6th position and lapping steadily in the 2:06.4s. Jörg Müller 2:04.7 last time around, has got the gap down, but only down to 1:04. The rot has certainly been stopped by Marcel Matter, who has done a pretty steady... Oh, the number 9. This is Khalid Al-Mudhaf in the Lamborghini, and he is being towed back to the pits. You might have heard me saying earlier on.
They tow with some pace.
Oh, they're not hanging about. They are not hanging about, as the teams here are told that there is live video on the local intranet as well. Wow. Ooh. So we'll be able to pick that up, as can everybody else. At the moment, if you're watching the pictures, you will see the number 9 Gulf Racing Middle East Lamborghini coming into the pit lane. He's going so quickly at the moment that's more than 40 clicks.
Oh yeah,
that is way more than 40 clicks as he comes in.
Now, does he get a speeding in pit lane because somebody else was towing him?
He's braking like mad, isn't he? Trying to slow down that 1.5 ton Ford pickup truck. You're killing me. You're killing me.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Can you imagine going to the race steward? It was him.
I think you might get a waiver for that.
Yep.
It's not like you're a glider and you can, cut the tie.
Cut the cord.
Yeah. So Jörg Müller, the fastest man on the circuit last time around, 2:02.7 in that beautifully liveried BMW. And when we get a bit of light on that, you will see the outline of the head of the Saudi Falcon on the side of the car around the numbers. You'll notice also that the numbers are illuminated.
All the car numbers will be illuminated.
You either have to have self-illuminated numbers, those photo-phosphorescent number squares that Audi pioneered at Le Mans a few years ago, or you have to have a light shining on them, which can be something as simple as a bicycle LED lamp dangled over the edge or pointing towards it.
They also have the ones with the backlit with the actual cord that runs.
Yeah.
Is that the phosphorus that you're...
Yeah, okay. They're very clever. I have no idea how all that works. It's
well,
electricity.
I used Petite last year, so I got a close look at one.
Let's...
I thought they ran off the battery of the car.
Let's be honest. Electricity is the work of the devil. Anything that you can't see, can't smell, can't hear, but if you touch it, kills you. Yeah, that's the work of the devil, isn't it?
But it's not the electricity's fault. It's just
trying to find a way home. Yes, quotes Bob Dawson. Brilliant, Bob. The front straight, as you can see, is very well lit as the Ram Racing Ferrari goes underneath us, piloted by Gunnar Jeanette at the moment. The American stepping in at fairly late notice after it was Jamie Mello, wasn't it? Who
got sick again.
Ill. And Gunnar had a little chat with him just before the race start, actually. Seldom have I seen Gunnar with a bigger smile on his face, and for someone who smiles as much as Gunnar, that is quite a statement, actually.
For somebody who jumps out of tall buildings, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, he's an extreme sports
junkie
fan. Yes, well, okay. See how quickly the darkness is gathering here. Sunset was about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it gets dark very fast in the desert.
Someone has switched the lights off and
turned on the city.
Yeah, and what you can't see, because you can't possibly have our vista from up here, that the whole of our vista, which is it is 180 degrees up here pretty much, has just come to life. It's brilliant. Yeah. Let's head down to the pit lane for a little bit of evening chat from Nick Damon, who is taking it very easy in the pit lane. Who have you got for us, Nick?
I'm with Khalid Al-Maldi, the man who's just exceeded the pit lane speed limit on the back of a tow rope.
Yeah, it was a bunch of bad luck. We were doing really well. At one point, when everybody went in, we were leading because we're the only team that decided to double stint. So we're doing very well, everything went, and then just suddenly I couldn't have any gearbox selection. It sucks, we were doing well. It was my first experience, but hopefully we can fix it and get back on track, yeah.
And also the first man from Kuwait to take part in this, which is a real surprise. It's not that far, is it?
Yeah, I know, but since we don't have a circuit, kind of pioneering it. I got license #1, first Kuwaiti in endurance racing. Hopefully there'll be many more to come,
So any idea of it? You think it was probably something quite mechanical then, so?
It's not mechanical because the gearbox was fine. There was no slipping of the clutch. I think it's the electric selection that just went.
Which is either good news or really bad news.
True. I'm hoping it's the good news.
Khalid, thank you very much.
Thank you for the coverage you guys doing, and it's an honor to have you guys here.
I've always wanted to meet the man with license #1.
Thank you, Nick Tierman. And we're enjoying being here, Khalid, I can tell you. And there is part of the view that I was talking about with the Burj in the background.
And that camera's right in front of us.
Yeah, so
that's our view.
Yeah, cameraman is looking at what we do. And if you just keep going to the left, you can see the rest of the city coming into focus from the left-hand side. It's downtown Dubai. And it is stunning. Just the last vestiges of the setting sun reflecting across the skyline there.
And it's a lot darker than that camera is showing.
I don't understand how that works, Jim. You work in television, and how can cameras see better than we can?
It's that electricity thing.
There you go.
The number 17 McLaren having had that close call out on the circuit as it tried to go past the Bauhaus Aston Martin. It's got going again. It's back out on the circuit in the hands of Adam Christodoulou. He's down now into 12th place, having got going again when he was in 4th. And so he was ahead of Bernd Schneider and Sergei Afanasiev in 4th and 5th places where they are now. And he's, as I say, slipped down to 12th place, has lost 2 laps, plus probably maybe even 3 laps actually as a result of that incident coming together with the Bauhaus Aston Martin, the Perfection racing car. But the Perfection car I don't think has rejoined yet, or maybe it has if I go no, I don't think it has rejoined yet, but we'll pick that one up when we can on the timing
it's
monitors.
150, isn't it?
Yeah, and
there is 53rd.
Yeah, 53rd. No, that's in SP3. We'll pick it up, but I don't think it's actually rejoined yet.
No, 150 is the Zytek, or the Janetta.
Yeah. So Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Jörg Müller with the Schubert Motorsport BMW continuing to close in on Marcel Matter. He, as John was saying earlier on, the gap was over a minute and a half. It's now under a minute. In fact, it's under 50 seconds between Matter and Müller for first place.
It's interesting though, it hasn't come down quite as quickly or in the way that I might have expected it to, Paul. You know, he took a big chunk out and then it stabilised for a wee while. Now he's took another, all of a sudden he's took 20 seconds out and I kind of didn't notice that. But that Marcel's back down into, well, he's up into the 207, sorry, last time around. Whereas Jörg's not going particularly quickly, but he's doing 205s, 204s, whilst Marcel is doing 206s and 207s, so it is coming down in rather larger chunks than it was just a few moments ago. Jordan Groger does a 210.5, and that's probably a little bit slower than the guys would like him to go. Bernd Schneider 203, 205 for Sergei Afanassiev.
Schneider is now just 20 seconds behind Groger, so it's only a matter of time.
Third place, yeah.
Yep.
Just watching Marco Ciocci as well, 204.8 last time around. Hideki Yamauchi being very impressive. He's done a 204.1 last time around. A couple of people asking about Ram Racing, what happened to them. No, nothing's happened to them. They're running around. Gunnar Jeanette in the car, as we mentioned, 209.7 last time around. They haven't quite got the pace out of that car that I think they would have liked to have had. But I think they could have run as an ARM car. Oh, probably too many pro drivers.
Too many pro drivers, but they are running, to me, what is the more classic endurance. So it's like they're setting their times. They've steadily improved. We're 3 hours and 10 minutes into this race. I'm sorry, 4 hours and 10 minutes into this race. And they have climbed to 11th place. They're almost in the top 10. If they catch a break with a code 60, just right, they can gather more positions. I think they're in a position to still in the hunt for a podium. I wouldn't count them out at all. They've got too much driving talent on that team. If they catch a break and can pull the strategy right, I think that they'll be in with a shout at the end of this thing.
Just starting to see the aircraft warning lights flashing in the distance on the Berge.
Now they're both called Berge, right? There's the Sail Berge and the Needle Berge, but they're both called the Berge, right?
One is the Berge Al Arab and one is the Berge Al Khalifa.
Okay.
But I can never remember which.
Yeah, I think the big one is the Al Khalifa.
Right.
And
Berge Khalifa, actually. I'm not even sure it's Al Khalifa, but yes, Berge Al Arab and Berge Khalifa. It is stunning to drive up the coast road here. When we came and picked you up the other night from the airport, and you followed us in. When you come in that 5-lane highway, which is surrounded, it is like a video game.
It's like Las Vegas. It's like going into Las Vegas the first time. This place is a cross between Las Vegas and Salt Lake City.
It's phenomenal, and as I said, great use of neon and lights. Just around where we're staying, there are 2 towers, the top treatments of which are an homage, at least, to the Chrysler building in New York. It's the twin Chrysler buildings.
Yeah.
The Daimler and Chrysler buildings. And they're lined up on they're lined up on an evening and look absolutely. Right now. You can see them. Oh yes, you can see them. Yeah, good call. Oh, that's right. That's where our hotel was. That's great. Yeah, you can see them clearly in the distance. That's the first time I've been able to see them. It's a beautiful evening. All the talk of rain early on today as the traffic.
Bernd Schneider is about to get a lap back. He is right up the chuff of the number 20, our race leader.
There he goes down. Oh, no, not there, Bernd, come on. Oh, that's turn 1. And the GC Automotive, the BMW looking car, has been into the wall on driver's right and bounced right back into the middle of the track, and that is Marco Deutsch, who's at the wheel. He's 3rd place in SP2 at the moment, and that car is severely damaged.
And that should be our 3rd code 60. Fourth, I'm sorry. Fourth, code 60. And Bernd Schneider has gotten around the number 20 car and has gotten a lap back.
That's really important because he's now
on the lead lap.
On the lead lap. Right on the end of it, but on the lead lap. And there is the flag going out. And Jordan Groger comes straight into the pit lane. Fantastic move by the boys at Dragon Racing. Bix and the guys down there have pulled that one right out the bag. Now, how long has he been in that car? Oh, I've just missed it going through. How long's Jordan been in that car?
He's been in there an hour, at least.
Right, send him for fuel. Get him in for fuel and top it right off. And then get him out again.
I think they're doing service, though. The driver's moving around.
They are. Yeah, they're changing drivers. I'm hearing from the pit lane.
Yeah, Grogor had been in the car for an hour and 10 minutes, John. So,
and I think,
but they'll be
Price
first in the queue. They can do the whole service here under this caution.
Here's what happened to the GC Automotive car. I'm thinking he's going to get a tap from behind from. Oh no, he's gone off on his own. Now, did something break on that car? He swerves to the left, and then it disappears to the right. And nice pick up by the cameraman, because he could not have been expecting that to happen. So whoever's on camera one, well done, thank you. And that's, well, you see, very close call indeed for one of the BMWs. That's a silhouette car, the 131 car, GC Automotive. It is built around the tube frame. The VDS goes around the outside as well. And I have to say, that does show the strength of purpose-built racing cars. That car's restarted. He's just bump started that car, and I'm telling you, that car is now running after that hit.
Getting towed, but it is. Yep, there. Yeah, he is under his own power.
That is quite remarkable. I'm not sure he could drive it all the way around the track. Saudi Falcons are in from second place. Jörg Muller. Both cars, in fact, are in, with Faisal Bin Laden in as well. And they can't do both cars. Come on, get the car out.
So the 24 is away. The 12 car is still servicing.
And the 88 car, of course, is getting fuel. So is in 14th place, the 133. The 11's getting fuel as well, one of the AF Corsa Ferraris. And Audi R8 is serving a penalty, says Nick. And that is the 81 car and the Jones Pressy Spark car getting a penalty too. That just comes to its pit box now. In case you're not sure about this, in most forms of motor racing, you can't, if you come into the pit lane to take a penalty, then go and take service. That's not the case here. You can do your penalty at any time between when it gets called and your next pit stop, or in the next pit stop, so you can actually combine service. In comes AF Corsa number 16 into a very crowded area of the pits, and that GC Autumn, I like that idea with the flashing stick as well, the flashing wand. Tell people to move out. Well, that was a very big hit, but I'm glad to say that the driver Marco Deutsch seems fine, and he was able to restart that car and pull it out of the way of danger. Courtesy of our colleagues at TV. Was that a left puncture that pulled him to the left-hand side?
Might have been.
Yeah, because it was also smoking as it spun round a little bit more. Maybe he just had the brakes on. But I tend to agree with you, John, that it was something at the front which seemed to suddenly go, whether it was a puncture or some type of suspension failure, possibly a wishbone braking or something like that. But they've got it out of the way relatively quickly, John, so this might be a slightly shorter code 60. The previous two code 60s that we had did go on a bit. We had a 26-minute and an 18-minute code 60.
Just a quick word for Shea Adam for what you've just tweeted to at JRoller LM24. No. And we're not going to We're certainly not going to mention that. Happy birthday, Shay, by the way.
But it did make them laugh, Shay, whatever it was. I didn't look at it. But
probably just as well, Paul.
Yes. No, I better not.
Shay, Adam, another member of our RadioLeMans.com crew, who we haven't
Paul
seen for a
just
little
shook
while.
his head.
Yes. See, he even incurred the displeasure of Paul Trustwell, Shay. That tells you all you need to know about that tweet.
60 seconds.
You just got her about 1,000 followers, you know that, don't you?
She's at Gearbox Girl, by the way, for those of you who want to follow another one of our crew. Somebody else was just tweeting to say how much Rob Barth sounds like Blackpool Johnny at Commander Boy. Yeah. Never seen them together. They've never.
That's probably true.
I'm very, very impressed at how that GC automotive car has stood up to what was a very, very big impact indeed. You are flat out just till the brow of the hill, and he didn't scrub off that much speed before he hit the wall.
No, because it snapped on him pretty, you know.
And in comes Bernd Schneider in the number 1 Mercedes-Benz. Hope he's not hoping for fuel, because it's going to be very, very busy up at the fuel stop, and he may have to wait. Bernd Schneider has got out. Well, there is Bernd Schneider out of the third-placed number 1 Black Falcon Mercedes-Benz. And now will that car go to the fuel as we're in code 60 again? Oh, tight to get it out of the pit lane. It's going to have to be pushed back because of the Mini in front of it, but he does get out and around. I'll tell you what, who's done absolutely the right thing here is the 88 car. Leon Price has got into it. The Dragon Speed car is...
I bet they gain.
I think they'll gain out of this.
But that was purely by chance that happened, by virtue of where they were on the racetrack at the time. I mean, it was quick thinking and
it was quick thinking by Biggs.
Right thing, but it was to do with where they were on the racetrack at the time.
And there is the number 1 car going for fuel.
And that will probably be Khaled Al-Kubaisi now
twin
at the
Chryslers
wheel of that car.
Daimler and Chrysler buildings there in the distance. And he drove... let's head down into the pit lane. Nick Damon is in there. It's all got very busy. Again, everybody's got to try and time this absolutely right, Nick.
Yeah, and I'm with Jörg Müller, and I think this time Saudi Falcons have got that code purple absolutely right.
Well, yeah, but the first one we got wrong, so it's a little bit of a gamble at that race. You know, it's very strange. We lost at the beginning. We lost nearly 2 laps because of that code 60. If you're not in at the right time, you lose like hell. The second one we were lucky again, but I think the race will be decided through that code 60, and this is something which I don't like so much.
As you say, you gained on that one, but of course it was a pretty impressive stint you put in there, Jörg. You were chasing down the amateur car by about 4 seconds a lap.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we were something like 1.5 laps behind, and then you have to risk something if you still want to win that thing, and that's what I did, just gave it a go.
I mean, that's a good point. Obviously, we know you can drive really, really quickly, but how many risks did you have to take to go that fast, that many laps in a row?
Well, you always have to think for the others as well. So, and as well, I want to fly back home on Sunday again, and I don't want to hurt myself, so I'm not doing stupid things. Of course, you have to risk something. But if you're really committed in what you're doing and you're really in the hole which is open, then everyone will see that. If you're not careful and scared, then you can't go that quick through the traffic.
Well done. Thank you very much. Calculated risks. You failed to shake hands. Calculated risks there. That's what it's all about. And I think a calculated mistake again from number 1 car, because I think Schneider came in a lap late and they should have sent him out for another round. What does Paul think?
Yeah, I think I'll agree with that, Paul.
Yeah, unless he was out of... I mean, he was getting close to his fuel, but the thing is, you've got to fuel sometime, and it's better to fuel whilst everybody's going at 60 kilometres an hour than it is when everybody's going at full racing pace.
Well, stand by, because the 88 car is about to jump to the lead of the race, I reckon. Leon
or
Price.
second.
I think he might be ahead of the
right.
Muller car. Just wait till it comes round past the start-finish line. It
just did.
Ah, right, okay. Then I'm very surprised then. I thought
me
it was
too.
further
I'm
round.
shocked.
Okay. I realised why, because he was a lap off the lead when he came out. That makes sense.
Yep.
I understand what's happened there, because the number 1 car went...
he got a lap back.
Yeah.
So the 24 car should be our leader once this all settles out.
That's correct.
Yep.
That is correct. But I think I'm pretty certain that the 88 car is going to drop into 2nd place, Jim.
Yeah, and certainly first in the AM class. Unless the lap thing got him.
Bernd Schneider then, was it good, bad or indifferent that he got into the pit lane when he did? A lap too late, says Nick Damon. Are you going to ask the great man what he thinks?
Bernd, fantastic stint, but do you think it's all been undone by that code 60?
I mean, the problem is always to have a little bit of luck. For me, again, was very difficult. I just got code 60 out when I passed start finish, but I couldn't brake hard because there was cars behind me. And then I was quite quick in the in lap and difficult to judge. And the others behind me could come straight into the pit to refuel. We lost a lap in the first code 60. I guess we lost again now. But on the other hand, it can come other side around. What I hope for in the next few hours, if it comes in our way.
And the car must be feeling fantastic, because you were putting in lap times 2:01s that we weren't seeing from anybody else. Was that just because you felt at home, or have you got a special strategy of getting through the traffic?
Yeah, I must say, I think the first laps I'm quite happy with the traffic. But now in the end, I thought it must be 20 more cars on the track than in the beginning. It's always a kind of lap. Like if you get good laps, clean laps, you can push and you can put some good lap times, and a lap after probably you're running a lot of traffic and it goes 5 seconds slower.
Then thanks very much. And we are green. Short code 60.
Yeah, as I think we expected, the 24 car still to get up to speed. Now gets the word from the pits, and he's about to lose some real estate if he doesn't get his foot down quickly. Dirk Muller there out on the far side of the circuit. So I can't believe that the 20 car has managed to hang on to the lead.
I don't think he will.
No, I think he's...
I think that... Well, last time by, the 24 got its lap back, and this time by, it will be in the lead.
Well, he's only in Sector 1, and the 20 car's in Sector 2.
Oh, okay.
So
yep.
I stand corrected.
I think
me
what's
too.
happened
Me
is
too.
because everybody ended up making a pit stop. And I think that has kind of led to the situation that you've found. Unfortunately, my secret weapon for finding out that other piece of information that wanted to find out how long they spent in the pits hasn't been able to be made available to me, because I suspect that the driver change from Jordan Groger to Leon Price might have taken a little bit longer than the driver changes in the all-pro cars up ahead of it.
And he got into the 3rd sector before both of the cars ahead of him.
Okay, so he'll be up to
I think he'll be up to him, at the worst he'll be third.
Yeah, he's third.
There he is, he goes third now. Well done, John. So we still have the number 20 Stadler Porsche leading the race.
Well, he's yet to come round across the start-finish line. I think he may drop down, Paul.
Yeah, we'll look out of the window and see who comes through first, whether it's Dirk Muller in the Schubert.
Here comes the Stadler car, right underneath us now.
Yeah.
No, he's gone through and confirmed on lap 107.
Wow.
He kept the lead again. And it's what we said earlier on about the guys in the AM class. They know they've got to be smart tactically.
Right.
And there's Dirk Muller going through
13 seconds.
Yeah. So they did. They've closed the gap. They didn't actually take the lead, but they have closed the gap to just 13 seconds.
Yeah. And Leon Price will be through in about 30 seconds time, I think. He'll be about 30 to 40 seconds further back. But another net gain for the 88.
Yes.
And that Ferrari, and the calculated gamble that they took right at the start. Remember, they took one last year the other way. They decided they wanted to go quickly. And that didn't pay off with them with an accident in that car. Or at least with Rob Barth, who was part of that team this year in the car that he was driving for last year.
And Bernd Schneider did all that work to get his lap back from the 20.
Yeah.
And now he's now a lap down again.
Yes.
A lap and 35 seconds.
Yes.
So
yes.
Must have been a very good pit work by the 20 car.
Nick says in the talkback in my ear, like a tiny little Nick with devil ears on, sitting on my left shoulder. He said they may just have got lucky in the pit stops. I'm not sure it was luck. I think they were, but they certainly got to the pumps at a time when they could get straight in and straight out.
So cynical.
We're still waiting for the number 2 Mercedes-Benz to go by, and I think they may have got past their teammates as well. I'll tell you who that is in that car. So there is the leader, the number 20 Porsche. This is an A6 ARM category car, and Stadler Motorsport leads the 8th running of the Dunlop 24 Hours of Dubai by something like 13 seconds last time around. 2:06.4 last time around for Rolf and Inshin. Has Muller closed the gap? Yes, he has. To 11 seconds.
2 seconds.
Leon Price a little bit further back than I thought. He's about another minute and 30 behind the 2 leaders.
Yeah, so he's a lap behind the 2 leaders.
And now he's going to have to watch behind him because the number 2 Mercedes-Benz, which we don't have a driver for.
Yeah, they might not have changed their driver transponder, so that's listed as in black
probably
right now. Maybe
get
Nick can find out.
I suggest it's either Simon Knapp or Steve Jans in the number 2 on the rotation. Although interestingly, the number 1 car has got Jeroen Blekemolen in it, and it was Jeroen Blekemolen who started the car. That means that Khalid Al-Kubaisi hasn't actually been in that number 1 car yet. Although he is due to drive it, he's not actually been in it. He's nominated for both cars, both 1 and 2, but he hasn't driven either of them yet, John.
No, I've seen his name. I thought he was in the 2 car.
He was in the 2, sorry.
Yeah, he was in the 2.
Let's head down to Nick Damon, who's with Saudi Falcons, pushing very, very hard indeed, and Faisal Bin Laden is just out of the car.
Faisal, the number 12 is running currently in 6th. Is that where you'd like to be, or just a result of all the confusion over the Code 60s?
Well, I think, a lot of Code 60s came in. We got a big advantage in the first one. But then, the second one, we had to driver change and fuel, so you drop down normally. But I think we're good. We're running on conservative fuel mode. So I hope at the end of the race, without any trouble, we'll be up there.
I mean, it did look a bit Formula 1 in the Saudi Falcons pit there, because you had them queuing up, didn't you?
Yeah, can you see? It's good for TV, huh?
I mean, but the thing about, how are the Z4s going? I mean, this is the platform that BMW wants to race. You've got a lot of the BMW Works drivers with you. I mean, is this car a big improvement over the machine you had last year?
Well, yes, it's a big improvement from last year. The lap times are dropping. Yesterday we were running on a 205, limited, and now we're running flat out. The number 24 car is flat out, going all the way, and we're running on a different strategy, let's say. But I think both are running well. The SLSs, the Black Falcons, they're 1.5 lap down. So they're running a very unconservative fuel time, and they're pushing as hard as they can. They want to catch up. And now they're running 5th. So I think it was Jeroen or Bernd Schneider who overtook me. But, when he overtook me, he just blasted away. You could see the amount of fuel being burned down.
Are you concerned by the 2 amateur class cars that are currently doing so well?
I think it's a 24-hour race, so you don't know who might win. We still have, I don't know how many hours, but I think 19 or 20 hours to go, so it's still a long time to go.
You win the prize saying there's a long time to go first. Well done, Faisal, thanks.
Yeah, 5 dirhams straight away. It was an interesting little segment there, as Dirk Muller is now down to just 3 seconds off the lead. So behind the number 20 of Rolf Venetian, who did a 13 last time around against a 5 of
TV, can
Dirk
you kill
Muller.
my mic, please?
And he...
And here
in fact, there it is. There is the gap.
Dirk.
Hoving out of the darkness. And what you can see there
TV,
is
can you
just
turn off my
a
mic,
slight...
please?
Yeah, just a slight hesitation as he goes through the traffic. And, you know, that's
Nope,
Can you turn my
that's
mic off,
the one
please?
car. So the one car is trying to get his lap back again, trying to again get his lap back. It's harder to do against Dirk Muller.
Yeah. And there they go across the start-finish line. The gap is 7/10 of a second between first and second. We've been racing, what, 4.5 hours, and the lead comes down to about 30 metres, if that. As we look out to our left-hand side into the darkness, and that is the view that we get. And look at the lapping going on.
Sorry, John. Even with the 20 car having to run to a reference time of 2:05, it will have taken the 24 car over 3 hours to get back into the lead after they blew the first Code 60 strategy.
Yeah, absolutely right. I should mention, by the way, we got a quick look of an onboard there from one of the Nissans, and Wolfgang Reip is back in the lead of SP3 in the 127 Nissan 370, the RGN Nissan GT Academy car. So we'll catch up with those guys in a little while as well. Nick, what do you have for us?
Well, I've wandered down to the Nissan pit, and it's car number 147. It's Alex Buncombe. It's the half that's not Lucas. I mean, first question. I mean, how much are you actually racing in the other car?
Well, at the start of the race, we were actually racing them, but now, unfortunately, we're not. We're about 3 laps behind them. We had unfortunate little incident in the fuel stop. Unfortunately, we lost about 6-7 minutes. So. Yeah, real shame, because we were 1-2 in the class, and I think they also had a slow fuel stop as well. So they're now back up to second in class, and we're now about 5th. So we've got a long way to go, but we'll just have to keep really, you know, we just have to push hard really, and our minimum time is 2:12. So we just have to keep, you know, just pumping those in.
Well, the good news is you've just taken the lead back in class again, about a lap and a few seconds with Lotus Evora. But I mean, how are these this year's crop of PlayStation drivers handling a real race situation?
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, Sabine went in after me, and then Peter. Peter's just come in now from his first stint, and yeah, absolutely cracking. He didn't make any mistakes, no contact out there, and yeah, when he was clear, he was in the 12. So can't ask for any more than that. So let's hope they just keep that up.
With the Nissan GT Academy, the winner's been here since 2009. I think by coincidence you've been here since 2009 as well. How's the race developed in that time?
Yes, just getting bigger and bigger, like GT Academy. You know, this the race out here in Dubai is just fantastic. You know, there's such an array of cars and drivers and teams and everything. It's extremely professional now, and yeah, you've got some massive teams here.
You're in civvies. When do you get another go in the car?
Oh, I'm out in about an hour, so I'm going to go and get changed in a minute and just have some dinner.
Good idea. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Action out on the circuit. There is the change of lead. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Clean pass. In fairness, I don't think Rolf Venetian was fighting too much.
They were trying to work their way around the 98 car, and Mueller was able to use that car as a bit of a pick, and that forced the 20 car to slow up even a little bit more.
There was also a change of position for fourth, as Jeroen Blekemolen, in his effort to get his lap back, has actually gone by Leon Price. Leon not able to get down to the times of his teammates. He's doing 2:13.8 last time around, but he's not long since been in that car. He's only been in for 20 minutes, playing himself in. It's his first. Rubens Racing. That's the number 81 Audi R8 LMS of Dragon Speed, brushing up against our new leader Dirk Muller. And
he's going through the turn 14
the Nissan in the lead has just come into the pit lane, and it's had some kind of contact. Hopefully we'll get to see that in just a moment. Wolfgang Reip has brought the car back into the pit lane, the Belgian winner of this year's international competition.
They've already taken the car right straight into the garage.
Oh, look at the front of that car. Well done to our cameramen in the pits for hustling down there. See Lindsay Moore, one of the PR representatives from Nissan, in the background there, looking concerned. And that is the leader of SP3 in the pit lane, and Nick Damon is down there. Nick, that is substantial damage at the front of that car.
Yeah, it's remarkable. We were just talking to Alex. He was talking about how this car had taken the lead of the class and things were going well. It's come in after obviously what can be described as a shunt, and you'd have to say it looks like the sort of thing that happens in a contraflow system. It's gone right up the back of someone, I would say. I've no idea who the other person is, because it doesn't look like an accident that could have been caused by actually falling off the track, because it's so straight on. So I think that Wolfgang Reich, the Belgian winner, Wolfgang Reich, the Belgian winner of the GT Academy, what's happened is he's misjudged a closing speed. The only plus point is that if it's just cosmetic, it's okay, but looking behind, I think we've got a problem with the oil cooler or a water cooler behind that front panel. There's no visible leakage, so it's just a bend, but I think they'll be taking that front area off, and then see if we can get... Let me just see if I can just grab a very quick word with Bob. Bob, do you know who Wolfgang hit, or was it just a strange thing?
No, it's Mark.
Oh, it's Mark, sorry.
Yeah, he hit a tyre that was in the road.
Oh, God, that explains the damage, actually, yeah. I mean, I couldn't work out how he'd done that. It looked like a kind of it looked like a fender bender, but if he hit a tyre in the road, it's remarkable.
Yeah, that's apparently what he said on the radio. That's what it looks like too. Something in the middle.
That's terrible bad luck. I mean, so basically it's a new front end and radiators, and then he'll be able to go again.
A bit early to say yet, but it's looking that way, and it's pity he's back leading the class. And
well, Bob, that's 24-hour racing, but I reckon you can sort it out, mate.
So he hit a tyre in the road.
Yeah, it was Mark Schulzitsky. Mark Schulzitsky apparently
somebody
who was
slow. It's
at the wheel.
Looks like a Ferrari. Or
coming into the pit lane.
It's not.
It's
one of the BMWs.
One of the little BMWs.
77 again?
Two numbers. First number 6, second number 9. Now they've already lost a wheel once. They lost their right front wheel about an hour and a half ago. Phil told us that.
Yep.
And I wonder if they're coming in 3 wheels on their wagon again, because it is down at the right front. I'm afraid, as a sort of detective, I am putting 2 and 2 together and making 5 perhaps. And there is the pictorial evidence. Again, the guys on playback have done a cracking job for us, and that car looks like for the
attached, but
I think the right front's gone.
Right front, yeah, you're right. Looks like it might.
Sparks underneath the car there, Jim.
Yeah, we'll know here shortly.
Stop calling me shortly.
No, it's Shorty.
So Mark Schulzitsky, the first Russian GT Academy winner, was at the wheel, not Wolfgang, as it said on the screen. My apologies for that.
I think Jerome Bleekemolen has gotten a lap back.
I think you're absolutely right, because the green front end, that is looking back from the onboard camera on what was the SP, still the leader at the moment, but next time around, and Trevor Knight goes underneath us in the Evora and takes the lead of SP3 as in comes the 69 car, and it is indeed missing the front right wheel for the second time this evening. And the Evora's gone through back into the lead of class. And there again, my co-commentator Jim Roller, absolutely spot on, as Jeroen Bleekemolen makes it 4 cars now on the lead lap. And Paul?
The battle for the lead is far from over. I thought when Dirk Muller went through into the lead, he'd be disappearing off into the distance, but he's not. And he's got the number 20 Porsche right behind him. They've just got Jeroen Bleekemolen, as you say, just up ahead of them, but he is a lap behind, not quite a lap behind, but the best part of a lap behind. But Ineichen has got himself right up onto the tail of Dirk Muller's BMW again. So here we are, John. We're, 4 3/4 hours into this race, and we've still got nose to tail racing for the lead.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that this keeps happening, this concertinaing and the different paces of the car. I just wonder perhaps if Dirk Muller has gone off a little bit too early and done some damage to his tyres by driving too quickly. So 4 3/4 hours exactly completed, and well, Dirk Muller's clearly got us tuned in on 87.6 FM, which is what we're broadcasting on around the circuit here, because he's being spurred on by Paul and Mike Corris. comments, and he's trying to put a lap back on Blakemolin. Now, Blakemolin really shouldn't be holding him up too much. I understand him wanting to stay on the lead lap, but if he hasn't got the pace, I can feel the frustration from Muller, and he's not a one to be. Dirk Muller is not a one to be denied for overly. Oh, he goes down these. My goodness me, that was close as they went by the Italian Ginetta, the 150 car. And this is allowing Rolf van Eynschen to close back in on the 2 pro cars ahead, and Rolf will be loving this. He's getting a grandstand view, and Dirk Muller will be hating it, because it is bizarrely the man who's just unlapped himself who is preventing Dirk Muller from stretching this lead away from the number 20 car. Now, these guys need to get their heads together. Would not be the worst thing to do to have a quick word between teams and say, guys, stop fighting each other. He's back on the lead lap. Dirk, just follow him.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out, Paul, if he's really back on the lead lap or not, or if he's...
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Right, just back on. That's what I thought.
Yeah, there are 4 on the lead lap.
Throwing me a curve, so...
Blakemolin is just on the lead lap, and Steve Jans in the number 2 Black Falcon Mercedes is about 5 seconds up the road from Blakemolin.
Oh, okay, that's why that's what was confusing me. Now, okay, that's another, it's one of the Porsches, but it's not the 20 car. So as you can see, Blakemolin now has pulled out a little bit on Mueller, as Blakemolin has caught a couple of breaks in traffic, and so now he has pulled away from Dirk Mueller. So where's the 20 car now? The 20 car is should come into the frame here shortly.
He's back a couple of seconds now.
Yep.
And you know, Rolf did a 2:05.6 last time around, so that's exactly where he needs to be.
Rob Van Eycken has to be very, very careful here that he doesn't get involved in a race, because he mustn't race Dirk Muller, because otherwise he's going to have to start using his jokers.
Off has gone the 151 car. That is the Bauhaus Aston Martin. That's severe damage on the front end. He's hit both sides of the track.
That's the second
time he's been off, but he has destroyed the left front suspension, and now everybody's heading for the pit lane, because surely that will bring out a code 60. Oh well, Jerome Blakemolin, has he stayed out? They've all stayed out. Oh, they're rolling the dice here. It's only been 26 minutes since the last time.
But they could come in and take on a full load of fuel, and then use their whole 2-hour stint.
It's Philippe Horowitz who is at the wheel of that car.
The problem they've got to be careful of is, yeah, no, it's are they going to be able to get in off the circuit on his own, or are they going to need the code 40?
Unfortunately, he's on the wrong side for a rescue vehicle to get to him without crossing the track at that point of the circuit. So code 60 is out. Thanks, Phil. We've got so many pairs of eyes here to get all the information in, and I've got to say now, who's next across the line? It will be the number 2 and the number Leon Price. Get him in, maybe. He's next around. Mika Salo's just gone by into 6th position in the AF Corsa number 16. So the second place A6 Amcar for the moment has dropped down to 7th position.
The leaders are going down the back straightaway into turn 10, so we may see them come by here.
Half an hour
that's the gamble. I mean, well, it's not really a gamble, but that's the call you need to make, and you got to make it quick. If you see an incident that you think is going to bring out a code 60, you got to bring your guy in even before the code 60 comes out. And that is where the gamble comes in.
Wow.
The other thing, of course, is that Dirk Muller can't use his extra power. Sorry, you'll watch this replay.
Watch at the left-hand side of the screen here. The Aston's already been into the wall left side there. And look at the wheel going across in front of the 20 car.
Wow, what a near miss.
Wow, it didn't and did it hit there?
I don't think so, but there was another car on the outside. Between the two of them, the wheel must have passed. It was a very close thing indeed. Now, what I was going to say was that, of course, whilst the Code 60 is out, then Dirk Muller can't use the ability of being a pro. He can't go any faster.
Well, Darrell O'Young is the first of the leading cars to come in from 9th position in the 15 Aston Martin. And that is the first car, 9th position, to head into the pit lane. Darrell's been in that car. Oh, and I'm hearing he's gone straight by his pit, so that will be fuel only. The 25,
he's been in about
13th position. The Pressy Spark car has also gone down for fuel.
Yeah, he's been in the car 25 minutes. So that's the strategy that a lot of them are using.
Yeah,
Come in,
half an hour.
fuel up, and then do another 90 minutes, and there you have your 2-hour stint.
The 1-2-1 leading their class, remember.
The Racing Divas.
Sandra gets out. It's a leisurely stop here, but they do have, let me see, they've completed 106 laps. The next A3 team car has only completed 104, and that now is the number 90 car.
And here comes the 24, straight past its pit box and straight to the fuel pumps.
Yeah, that's smart. That is smart.
And currently we're showing in the top 20, we're showing 1, 2, 3.
He's going to have to queue. Jimmy's going to have to queue. There's 10 cars down there already in the fuel area. This could be a big move for the Aston Martin as well. That is a quick car.
Well, and Jerome Bleekemolen has stayed out.
As has the 20 car. The A6 AM car has stayed out. Remember, they have got more fuel and a bigger tank.
Yep. So that's going to be a huge advantage for now the 20 car, and we're going to see Bleekemolen right back in the hunt here.
That is the very sad sight of the number 151 Aston Martin that has brought out this Code 60. How many is that now, Paul? Is that 8?
5. No, it's 5.
5, okay.
Although in total we've had more than an hour of the race behind the under the code 60, under the purple flag. So out of 4, nearly 5
under the purple
hours,
flag. What a
we've
great
had
name
more
for
than an hour of purple flags.
What a great name for a what a great title for an autobiography.
Under the purple flag.
Yeah. Album title, I'm being told, from Nick David. A difficult second album, I'm sure. Now, let's see when the 24 car comes back out again. The 25 Pressy Spark car is out. They were one of the quickest ones in and out of the pits, as is Darrell O'Young in the Aston Martin. He's already out and back on the circuit. So that has been a really good call by the Craft Racing AMR, the Hong Kong-based team, with Aston Martin blessing, hence the Stefan Mucker and Darren Turner, the two works drivers in that car. And out goes Dirk Muller as well. There he is, just the second of the two cars there. You can identify that by the green glow around the air intake and the green light on the top right-hand side of the driver's side window, or the windscreen rather. Not sure who this helps really. I was just looking to see if there was anybody who's got...
Bleekemolen.
Bleekemolen staying out is good. They had to do that because that gives them a huge amount of track position back. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It doesn't give them as much track position as you might think, though, because the 60 kilometres an hour applies all the way around the circuit. You know, this is the because we've watched a lot of races. The sort of instinctive,
but it applies even if they're behind a safety car. So
yeah. But Bleekemolen can't sort of just catch up by going quickly.
So we are just coming up to another hour worth of racing, and And after 5 hours or thereabouts, that is how it stands with the 24 car, Dirk Muller. I think probably has just lost the lead actually to the Stadler Motorsport number 20. The two Abu Dhabi by Black Falcon cars are in third and fourth position as that Code 60 came out, and then the second of the Saudi Falcons cars. So local teams showing very, very well with 4 of the top 5. AF Corsa for the first of the Ferraris next up. And then as we head down through the teams, I'm trying to pick out the class leaders. The next class leader we'll see is in 18th position for the Burkhardt Kaiser 44 machine. So there they are, the Black Falcon team TMD friction car. And
then the 126,
yeah,
the Bunk Motorsports is your leader in SP2.
Yep.
I think the 98 is leading. No, they're second in SP2.
Second in SP2 now. Trevor Knight, the 148 car, will be the next class leader as we go through. They've just, after the problems with that Nissan hitting the errant tyre and wheel combination, they're the SP3 leaders, the 148 car. And then a little further down,
there's the two Nissan cars, the two GT Academy team.
121 was leading class as well. And that's the 147 dropping down now after its problems. Shame for them. 127 rather. Steve Doherty going up past his teammate and heading right through the whole of the 80 cars with the number 100 car leading its class.
First time that car has led.
Yes, I'd agree. Yeah, that's the A2 category, and that's the Vogtland Racing car. Also leading the 62 car, Martin Kroll in A4, the Kuiper Racing machine. And further down
in the 115,
the field, the SVDP Racing, another local team, and there's again a big thumbs up from one of our colleagues here in the booth. And there are your leaders. And just looking to see how many of those.
Blake Mullen has come into the pits and gone straight to the fuel.
I think that's a mistake.
I think so too. Because he waited a lap too long. Well, unless what they're playing on is they didn't want to queue.
Okay.
And Icon has stayed out. So
thank you.
It depends how long this Code 40 is going to last.
26 car Tempto Racing is out of the running, and one or two of those cars at the bottom have had some major problems, including the 111. They've been in a couple of times. The 10 is
75.
the McLaren that had a problem, wasn't it?
Yes. The 75 BMW was had a problem. So
Code 60 for what I think might not be an easy recovery of that Aston Martin. There's a number of assistance vehicles at the side. Well, they've already got it onto the back of a flatbed, as I say that, looking through the darkness into the infield. So the 24 car did not, in fact, hold the lead as we thought.
Nope.
So he is now in second position. Rolf van Inken goes through in the Stadler Motorsport car. There is the Aston Martin. What a sad sight that is, and that again was a big hit.
It's sad to see any car like that, but it's especially sad to see an Aston Martin.
Well, I have a real affinity for that colour scheme. I think we talked about it last year. It's one of those classic colours.
Well, no, we saw it at Silverstone.
We saw Silverstone.
24-hour race at Silverstone.
Thank you, Paul.
You knew you'd seen it before, didn't you?
Yeah, we talked about it, didn't we? And said what a great classic colour scheme that is.
Yeah, reminiscent of the BASF colours that used to be run on BMWs and Saubers in the mid-80s. And yeah, that was where we'd seen it before.
10 lead changes now, Paul, with 7 different cars?
10 lead changes, 7 different cars, that's right. So number 20 is back into the lead.
Adam Christodoulou comes in along pit lane from 10th position in the McLaren.
He must be a very broad-shouldered young man.
Want to get his name on his back?
Yeah.
Very good. He's gone straight to the... He's gone straight to fuel, or he has gone to fuel, should I say. So, just on the 5-hour mark then, and it is the 20 Stadler Motorsport Porsche that leads under another code 60 for that incident with the 151 Aston Martin, the Bauhaus sponsored car, which is in the wall. It looks like the Nissan is still getting some work that had the problem when it hit an errant wheel from the 69 BMW. What bad luck for Mark Schulzitsky, who had just fought his way back to leading SP3. It's the usual scramble in the pit lane under the caution period. And there is the Precision Motorsport Aston coming back. Does look a fairly standard car, that, just a little flick-up spoiler on the back, much more a GT4 than a GT3. Yeah, I do as well. And I do like the fact it's got a proper racing colours in it as well. Now that's... is that the Ram car? No.
No.
I like the big screen rear view mirror, which we can just see at the right-hand side, beyond the mobile phone there on the screens at the moment. That is the 98
car.
Megane Trophy car, which does have a big smile on its face. A number of people who've been watching the coverage have said that. At Specutainment, at Radio Le Mans, or radiolemans.com as well. Mitchell Legg says, code 660, it's just an invisible safety car, isn't it? Oh, let me have a look at that. Was that a picture on the lead car there, or was that just a trick of the light? I do like that, invisible safety car, very good. Adam Farrell, who is at Adam F, says, listening at work, and every time you get excited I flick to the video screen. I've never alt-tabbed so much in my life. Come on, like it. Oh dear. It was left front that fell off the 69 car last time round, says Tom Looms.
And it was right front this time.
Right, thank you, Tom. And for those people asking why Nick is not wearing a fire suit in the pit lane, there's no refuelling in the pit lane, so it's not required. And that is making Fiona Miller very disappointed indeed. I'm sure Nick will want to know that.
Good God. Oh, heavens.
So that is Royal Finish.
I found it interesting that out on the racetrack, the 24 is right behind the one car again.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't think he's going to put him a lap down. Full dark here at the Dubai Autodrome for the 8th running of the Dunlop Dubai 24 Hours, and we're in code 60 for a very nasty looking accident to the Precision Racing Aston Martin. The Bauhaus sponsored red and white 151 car has been recovered back to the pit lane. The driver we saw moving around under his own steam, so pleased to be able to report that. The metal will fix, we hope. The situation is at the moment, as we go into the 6th hour of racing, that the number 20 Stadler Motorsport Swiss entered Porsche 997 Hopswiss, yeah, GT3R, running as an amateur car, which means it is not allowed to drive under 2 minutes and 5 seconds for the lap. The reference time is leading the motor race by something like a lap and more, just on a lap actually.
I also think, as we're under our 5th code 60, that the number of code 60s is playing into the hands of the enemy.
Oh, absolutely. Because when you're under code 60, the pros can't do the pro bit.
Right.
As Paul said earlier, you can't. If you can only do 60, it doesn't matter. You could put me in there. I could drive around at 60 kilometres an hour, probably, for most of the circuits. Maybe not all of it. But you know, it is almost just get out there and you know, you're not losing anything to the faster cars. And also, there is the point that you're using less fuel. Everybody is, fair enough, but don't forget that the AM cars have a bigger fuel allowance, so it stretches their advantage on fuel even further, as Jerome Blakemorlan is confirmed now in 3rd position as he goes across the line.
1 lap down.
But still 1 lap down.
That happened purely with the refueling,
yes.
did it? Yeah, okay, sorry, I was trying to get something else to work, and that was purely because one of them took on slightly less fuel than the other, presumably. Right. Maybe Haroun was slightly lighter of the foot, didn't use quite as much fuel.
I think they were in at different times as well, Paul, in all honesty. In the stop previous to this one, they pretty much followed each other down the pit lane. This one, although interestingly, the time for the number 2 car on the stint is 18 seconds less than Blakemorlan's. So they came out. The 2 car must have come out. I don't understand how they've swapped around.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, and because Blakemorlan didn't get out of the car, so the stint should be still going. That's reset somehow. And it shouldn't have.
Well, maybe they haven't reset the driver ID, but I didn't see Blakemorlan stop. There is one of the code 60 flags, purple with the white 60 in the middle.
It on the actual flag, it looks less like a skull and crossbones than it does on the
screen.
On the screen.
Okay. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, at Specutainment, at Radio Le Mans here in the booth, and at the radiolemans.com forum, at www.radiolemans.com for all the information you need about this event. www.24hdubai.com if you want to find out about the different categories, the balance of performance. If you want to read the supplementary regulations, which we have read, and it would appear some team managers haven't, they are there in PDF format. You can read them all. I downloaded them before I came away.
Yep.
And
right here in my little tablet device.
Your tablet device, yes, with rounded off corners.
Apple iPad.
It's quite an interesting read, actually, how it's been put together, and I do follow the thinking of preventing and the changes that have been made since last year. It's very interesting when you see how the supplementary regs develop as you read through them.
I was blown away last year by this organization, and they have done nothing in the preceding 12 months to my second arrival here to change that opinion, only to enhance the opinion I have of the people that are running this event. They're great people to work with, and they do a very good job, and they really have their heads wrapped around making these events the spirit of what sports car racing is supposed to be.
Absolutely. So I'm not certain why we're not back racing yet. It's very dark at the scene of the accident. In fact, as I say that, I can just see the pickup trucks and track workers. We've had the forklift truck involved again in helping to sort out the tyre wall, the barriers on the driver's right coming into turn number 14, and that is now being escorted away by one of the, in fact, 2 of the track vehicles, one in front of it and one behind it. That is very smart. Yeah.
2 of us.
2 minds, 1 thought.
Yeah, great minds, and ours too.
Now, the 88 car came in during that pit stop, and I did say they got in very, very early and did a cracking run. They've just come back in again and made another stop, which now means they've had 5 stops, which I'm a bit shocked about. But what they've done is they've taken Leon Price out of that car and put Rob Barth into it.
And better to do it when everybody's circulating at 60 kilometers an hour than waiting. Yep.
Yeah. They did they were in very, very early to get that car in. I wonder if they just didn't have Rob ready to do the changeover. I'll tell you what, let's ask Leon Price, who's down in the pit lane. We spoke to him earlier on. He said he would get in when it got dark and do his first stint. He did. He's out again and can talk with Nick Damon.
Leon, we spoke to you earlier. You said you'd get in when it would get dark. You did. Then all hell broke loose, and you're out again.
I'm out. It was really difficult because we had a mixture of the fast traffic coming through us and we getting through the slow and the medium traffic, and everybody's cars left, right, centre. A really big mess at the hairpin. So we decided we've been lucky on 2 code 60s, and I think we just got lucky on the 3rd one as well. So we changed drive. I'll go out again in a couple of hours. But it's good. The track is good. The car's wonderful. It's all down to us now.
I mean, how tricky is the circuit? There's obviously, you say you've got cars going past you, but I mean, we've saw it before, that offline it was really rather unpleasant.
You can't get offline because there's so many marbles down, there's so much rubbish down to get you. I got a little bit of pickup in the first lap because our car came inside me, I just gave him room. And at the end of the day, it took me half a lap to get the pickup off. It's just not worth taking any chances, rather do that. The track is very good. I've driven here a lot, so that's no excuse. The lighting on our car through turns 4 and 5 is a bit difficult because we've just got no reference behind it. So if there's a car behind you, it's fine. If there's a car in front of you, it's fine. But when you're on your own, you sort of like punching in the dark a little bit.
One of the things that's really noticeable about this whole pit is how fantastically logoed everything is with Dragon Racing and the colours, the shirts. Well, I say fantastic. It's a slightly bad clash actually with the pink and the orange. But tell us about Dragon Racing.
Well, Dragon Racing's a brand new company. We've just formed it late last year. It's really based in Hong Kong at the moment, but we're moving everything here in the next couple of months, and as we've got companies set up and approved. Approval processes take a little bit of time here. My wife is a fashion designer, so she
faux pas.
Yeah, no, that's fine. She'll understand, and you'll actually love this because she designed all of the uniforms except for the pink and the orange ones.
That's fantastic. So I've already asked for the T-shirt. I love the T-shirt you had the first day.
She has two, may I say it, gay assistants who are very, very creative. And they said, we'd love to see these macho racing men in something that we'd wear. So I said, why not? Absolutely. Racing is a bit boring. Everybody wears a black T-shirt and white writing. And, let's be a little bit different. Let's get creative. Let's try and get down the line, something like a Nike. You see a Dragon? Dragon Racing. That's what we're after.
So the Dragon really is, because it fits in well with the Hong Kong roots, but it's an instantly recognisable logo. Is that the idea?
Absolutely. And you'll see on different colour cars we've adapted the Dragon just to fit nicely. Yellow cars have blue Dragons. The dark blue McLaren that we have has a sort of a Dragon similar to this one. This has got its own Dragon. And we've got a couple more cars coming in the next couple of months, and you'll see different coloured Dragons on all of them. And I hope you guys are here to come and root us on.
Hope so too. Thanks, Lee, and good luck to the Dragon Racing. Must be nice to have a different colour for your McLaren, different colour for your Ferrari, different colour for your other cars. It's just like my life.
Nick has always been the most colourful member of the RadioLeMans.com team. So, Leon, I like Leon's attitude to life, and good luck to them moving
and
the
his attitude about the race too. It's like, it wasn't working for me, So put the other guy in. I'll get back in a couple hours.
Yeah, fine. And there is his car with Rob Barth now.
And I do love the Dragons.
Yes, with Rob Barth, the Englishman, behind the wheel, and he comes out the final corner, still under code 60 at the moment. Let's get the binoculars on the scene. There's still some work, I think, going on over on the far side of the circuit. I can also see one or two people drifting away now. If you are thinking of making a move this time of the night, only 7:15 here local time, 87.6 FM as you're leaving us. Put that on button number 1 in the car.
I think there might have been other incidents around the circuit which they're tidying up as well, John, because there were a couple of other flatbeds coming in.
And also, Paul, they took the opportunity to replace some of the brake markers that had been disintegrated. I noticed that going on. I meant to mention that early on, but we went to an interview, so my apologies. So you're absolutely right. And I thought, again, smart thinking by the organisers.
And on the ticker screen here, I'm also informed that the guardrail needs to be repaired as well. So there are guardrail repairs going on as well. That message timed at 7:11, so just 3 minutes ago. So possibly a slightly longer code 60 period. It's been out now for some 25 minutes. That's the longest of the... we had a 26-minute...
Green.
60 earlier on. There we go.
So we haven't gone to 26 minutes, 25. And it all goes bonkers on the front straight underneath our feet. Is there a better sight in motorsport than multi-class racing going back green, even under the code 60? It's still very, very exciting indeed. And there is our leader coming through that. He had a lap and 55 seconds last time around. Now, how will that shake out? Well, it's 29 seconds rather. 55 seconds, not a lap and 55 seconds, just 55 seconds because of the slower speed. And now Dirk Muller comes through 29 seconds behind. His last lap time of 4:58. Rolf van Imsken's at 5:24. So Dirk got on the power nice and early. Jerome Blake-Molen still a lap off the lead. The lead is on lap number, having completed lap number 121, and the number one car in third place having completed only 120 laps, and just 4.5 seconds ahead of Steve Jans in his team car.
Yes, and even though they've been out the same length of time, John, we think they've got different amount of fuel on board because of the limitation in how much fuel is allowed to be put into the car at each pit stop. So that's the situation with the 1 and 2 Black Falcon Mercedes, which are still looking threatening, it has to be said. They're able to lap more quickly on occasions, but with the code 60 keeps on coming in and interrupting them, so it does interrupt their progress a little bit. In Eichen, of course, throughout the last part of that code 60, in fact, throughout that code 60, didn't come into the pits at all, so he is going to be the most likely next pit caller, which will hand the lead over to Dirk Muller if Dirk Muller isn't able to take the lead anyway. He's 30 seconds adrift. Now, the code 60, which went away, hasn't gone away, John. Because
there was definitely a green flag shown at the start line.
It's come back again. Well, no, I mean, I heard the engines, and for whatever reason, it was an accident or not, so we have to start the code 60 again.
So are you going to count this as a new one, are you?
I'm going to count that as a new one, because, as you say, there was definitely some racing being done as they came past start-finish.
Looking at the far side of the circuit, I can't see what might be causing this. Keep glancing down at the TV monitor as well. Phil's going to have to be another set of eyes down towards turn number 1. What's that over there? No, that's a car just driving slowly, and there's somebody gone the wrong way out of the circuit, having to find their way back. You can pick out the marshal's post. They are very nicely lit. They stand out lovely in the beautifully in the darkness. We've got an intervention vehicle on the circuit. Just coming through to the final corner is the Ford Flex, which normally goes out if there is, that's sort of like a medical car, that normally goes out if there's a extraction or something required. It's coming round to the final corner now, and it's staying out. The skyline of Dubai looking splendid in the darkness. What a clear night it is. Can see some of the stars there as well on those pictures. It's certainly the best evening we've had, the clearest evening we've had. This is great news, of course, for Stadler Motorsport, Paul, because they hold on to that 29-second lead.
Absolutely, and it will increase, won't it? Because, I mean, we'll see what happens as a result of the Code 60, but certainly whilst the Code 60 is being imposed, then at 60 kilometres an hour, the same distance suddenly becomes a greater time, because that's how it works. There's no mention on the news information screen as to why we might have gone back to Code 60.
Let me quickly answer a couple of tweets here. This one from Kevin saying, is there any chance for the attempt to a Porsche to come back, or is it done? I think that's done. There is the Ford Flex that is heading on to one of the unused parts of the circuit now. That had a fire early on after, in fact, was it leading when it had the fire? I think it had just given up the lead.
It had just given up the lead.
And dropped down the order a little bit, yes. So I don't think we'll see that car again, unfortunately.
No, if I'm reading the screen, I'm just trying to work out if the screen can tell me whether or not we've had official retirements or not, but I actually have found a pit time counter, and it's been in the pits for 4 hours and 37 minutes, which in a race that has lasted 5 hours and 19 minutes...
Substantial.
means that it's really a retirement. Is that the guy working on the car?
That is that very bit that we were talking about. So I think the answer there, thank you very much to the guys in the truck. I say truck, we don't have a truck here, we have a virtual truck. They're sitting in a room, but they know what I mean when I say that. Thanks to the guys in the truck for listening in, Florian and the rest of the guys doing a great job with the pictures. It is actually difficult to do television in the dark. People don't think that, but it is. And some stunning images.
Intervention vehicle coming into the pit lane, although that's a different one to the one that you saw a couple of minutes ago, John.
I think it's I still can't see. I wonder if there is an issue, Paul, that the clerk of the course is not happy with, and someone's gone out to have a look at it.
Yeah.
That can only be what's the situation is, I'm afraid. We saw it yesterday on one of the practices. The Ford Flex is indeed back in the pit lane.
There was an incident at turn 14.
There was an incident at turn 14, says Phil, over my right shoulder. That was race control. So there was another incident, so that you were right then to call that. So that's right, that's down here in the infield. Turn 14 was where the Aston had it shunt, so I can only presume that perhaps they weren't happy with the clear up and they've put it back to code 60 to have a look at it. There's nothing over there at the moment, unless it's right underneath the bank side. No, can't see anything. Well, there's a couple of spectators there looking, sort of peering over the top of the fence, as if there might be something that is right underneath there, but I can't see a safety vehicle going to tow it away, and it would be a short tow into the pit lane from there, so that's very interesting. So good news for the supporters of the Nissan GT Academy is that the damage to the 127 car caused by that errant wheel from the 69 BMW must have been a shock for Mark Szulzicki, coming across that in the middle of the track. It's bad enough if it's just a piece of truck tyre on the motorway, but when it's got an alloy wheel in the middle of it, it can do quite a bit of damage, as we've already seen. And we're hearing that car will be coming back out shortly. Can't see anything. That is turn 14 we're looking at there. And stand by. No. There's a green flag in hand on the start-finish gantry, but everything has to be coordinated, which it is beautifully. And the rise of the engine notes tell you more than I could, as it goes back to green with still just on 18.5 hours, little more than that to go. Rolf van Inchkin has gone through and past the start-finish line. You don't have to wait for the leader, of course, to go past the start-finish line to throw the green. It can be thrown anywhere on the circuit. It just so happens that that's where the Stadler Motorsport Porsche was. And we are racing again, Paul.
Yes, so good news that for in Eichken, or in
Eichken, yes. Sorry. Should he have come in there, Paul? He's been in the car for an hour.
He chose not to come in when the first code 60 was shown, when the first purple flag was shown, and then as it continued, or had its short break and then came out again, so he stayed out still. So he will be the first of the pitters, and what I was speculating before was that Dirk Muller might be able to get into the lead before Eichken comes into the pits for his routine pit stop, but having had that extra bit of time, we may well find that Eichken is able to maintain his lead until he has to come into the pits. He's 30 seconds in the lead at the moment, with the Stadler Motorsport Porsche ahead of the Schubert Saudi Falcons BMW of Dirk Muller. And the two of them are still a lap ahead, and it is a proper lap ahead now, whereas before it was just under a lap, with the two Black Falcon Mercedes running in 3rd and 4th places. But they've still there in 3rd and 4th, but now dropped back a lap. As into the pits, John, comes the Ram Racing Ferrari.
With Johnny Morland behind the wheel. Jay Moore gets a new set of tyres, but looks to be staying in the car. That's interesting, that he should come in for tyres after part of a stint, clearly, as Anishkin comes around. Well, he's pushing on a bit, is Rolf. He's holding on to under a 30-second lead at the moment, having only done 3 pit stops, remember, by far the fewest in the top 20. In fact, the only other car that I can see in the top 30 that's only had 3 is the leading SP3 Lotus Evora, the 148. However, the A5 leader, now the 77 of Yusuf Basil, has only been into the pits twice. Well, the A5 third place and second place cars, in fact, the 60 car. So they've done well to only have 2 pit stops. They must be spot on the 2 hours, mustn't they, every time? Oh, and the Ram Racing car going into the pits, into its pit box. They've had some gearbox problems earlier in the week. They knew that they had a little work to do with the gearbox because it had a relatively old gear set in it.
And they've pushed it a long way back into the garage, John, so
Nick can't go and talk
just yeah, I just wonder whether that is indicative that there might be a that's where all their equipment is, yes, because they have to share garages. Yes. Then each of the teams that share the garage have to put their equipment somewhere. It just so happens that the Ram Racing team got the slot nearest the back.
Yeah, they had a problem with 5th gear early in the week. They kind of knew that, as I say, they had an old gear set on. Then they blew a 3rd gear, I think. When one of the drivers, I think it was their gentleman driver, these paddle shift gearboxes apparently don't like to be short shifted. You've got to really be flat chap to click the gears through. And he short shifted between 3rd and 4th and 3rd gear. Said, I'm not very happy with that, thanks. It was something I didn't know. Oh my goodness me. Well, Rolf is really pushing on now in the Stadler Motorsport. All 4 wheels over the curb, and the Stadler Motorsport Porsche airborne on the exit of turn number 16, just to our right, as he now dives into the first corner. He's trying as much as he can. 2:06.9 last time around, 2:08.3 for Dirk Muller. So the gap, which was 30 seconds and then dropped down to almost 20, goes out to 24 and now comes back down to 22 as Dirk Muller in the Saudi Falcons BMW in second, the 24 car, puts in a 2:04.1. There's a real battle out there. Number 1, Jérôme Bleekemolen in 3rd place, still just off the lead lap, remember. It's not so long ago we had 4 cars on the lead lap, and now just the 2.
But the 2 cars that are no longer on the lead lap, John, are very close to being on the lead lap. So, in fact, although we've gone from 4 to 2, we haven't really changed very much at all. We've probably moved 2 cars by about 20 seconds, no more than that. And that largely is a result of just refuelling. So, yes, Iniken having lost very nearly 3 seconds on that lap, the gap down to 22.6 now, and around about 20 laps remaining for Iniken.
James Foster, Jimmy B84 on Twitter, has tweeted at Specutainment. So I've tuned in for the last couple of hours at work, and I have a quick recap. It's been mental, honestly. we've gone through 4.5 hours here, and it was like a sprint race at the start, James, to be honest. At one stage we had 4 of the top GT3 runners, the A6 Pro cars, battling together. First Code 60 came out just about the hour mark and rather caught out some of the teams. That shuffled things around a little bit. The early leader, well, the pole sitter, Jérôme Bleekemolen, dropped down the field, then fought his way back in this number 1 Mercedes-Benz, which has lost a door number on the left-hand side, or lost the light on the door number. That may be something that will catch the eye of the stewards as well. Must be the left-hand side, because that one's working fine. And what we've seen since then, James, is a race that has been really broken up. We had a couple of hours, ironically, when we weren't on the TV, where it settled down and people started to get into a bit of a flow. But as we came back onto live television, it all went crackers again and began to heat up with a couple of Code 60s. Big accident for the 151 Precision Racing Aston Martin, the most recent, but we've also had the 131, which was the GC Automotive, the BMW looking car. As again, we've got an incident out on the circuit and somebody being towed in, I think. Yes, it is. Coming into the pit lane. It's one of the Saudi Falcons. It is one of the Saudi Falcons, and I think it's the 24 car. Is that Dirk Muller that's being pulled into the pit lane? It's not, it's the 12.
Okay.
It's the 12 car. Disaster for Dominic Baumann in the BMW Z4. And this has been the meter of the race, James, to be honest. Every time we've settled down and tried to get our heads around what's going on, something happened. Now, this hasn't caused a Code 60. He's just been recovered. But again, one of the top runners is having problems. And what we've got is an A6 AM car who are playing the strategy game and driving very close to the 205. Last time 205.560. That's their lap time that they can't go under. I don't think the Stadler Motorsport car's busted out yet, has it? I don't think it's used a joker.
I'll just check, but I don't think it has, no. Yes, it has. I do... no, it hasn't used a joker. It used a joker on lap 7. It did a 2 minutes 04. And hearing that there's damage on that Schubert Saudi Falcons BMW at the front left for Dominic Baumann. That was a car started by Schwager, and which Dirk Adolf had. You can see it being pushed into the garage there.
And there is Nick Damon, who is at the pit.
On Jürgen's camera is the front left that's taken a big hit. I'm wondering about this because when Johnny Molam came in a while ago with the Ram car, he was doing the hand signals being whacked on the other side by a car. So whether that's coincidence or coming together, Baumann's about to get out, the car's going up. The interesting thing is, though, why it was dead stick with a piece of just a piece of damage, because you wouldn't normally think that would result in the car not running anymore. Wheels don't seem to be too misaligned. I'll see if I can see if we can get him. He's just chatting to the other Dominic in the team, and Schrader. Looking at the front left. Ah, yes, he's lost the track control arm at the below. He's lost his steering. That's why he was stopped. You see below there, Jürgen, it's hanging down there. You got that, just the track control arm's gone. So that's why he had to stop. Not a mechanical issue. The accident has. Let's see if I can just. No, he's nipped off to do the hat thing. But don't worry, I'll get him back. You don't escape that easily. But yeah, he's had an accident. He's broken the rear controlling arm of the steering, John, and that's why he had to stop it, because he couldn't turn, which apparently is quite important in cars.
He was in sixth place before that incident had happened, although that was at the end of the Code 60. I didn't actually check to see where he was as soon as he had his problem, but now in the pits, and already he's 5 laps off the race leader.
I'm a bit worried about the back of the lead car. Has he got some smoke coming from that? Or again, is that just dust from the track? He's well offline there as he comes down the start-finish line. Is he pulling over to allow his pit crew to have a look at something there? Is there something catching on that car? That was a very odd line down the start-finish line, finish straight.
I agree with you, John. He was keeping well over to the right-hand side, wasn't he? But it was difficult. I couldn't see from up here, but then we're a long way up in the commentary position here. And looking down, I couldn't see anything particularly amiss with that car. The lap time was a 2 minutes 9, which is slower than Rolf would like that lap time to be, but that could have just been getting through the traffic. He's cutting through the traffic at the moment as they sweep through the infield loops through the left-handed hairpin there, and then down the long straight up towards the hairpin.
Copy TV.
That is the Saudi Falcon pit there in a state of some, well, not panic, but certainly a lot of work being done. And Ishkin's times have dropped away again, Paul. 7s, 8s and 9s last time around. And that means that Dirk Muller has pulled, without really driving that quickly, back to 16 seconds. I do think the track conditions, I mean, we're not out there at the moment, but I just wonder if there's a little more sand being blown across the circuit. The wind does tend to get up on the evening. Let's head back down to the Saudi Falcons pit, because we really need to know what happened down there with that track control. That didn't happen of its own accord, Nick. What's the story?
Dominic, basically what happened, obviously we realised the steering's no longer working. What happened? What did you hit, I suppose, or who hit you?
I don't know who hit me, but it was our second code 60, and I was warming up my tires with steering left, steering right, and after that the flag was still outside, and the Ferrari, I guess the Ferrari it was, came with 180 k's, I got past me, and then he hit me, so he accelerated for sure too early, and the flag was out, and I was steering, like heating up the tires. And yeah, I don't look at the mirrors if it's code 60, but then they put the flag in, and then we have a restart. So, and he was really too fast from my side. Yeah, now I hope the guys can fix the car.
Where exactly on the track were you hit? What part of what? Where turn? What number, sort of?
It was between turn 6 and 7. It is the long back straight. So on the straight, so he hit me really hard, and yeah, not good.
Dominic, very bad luck, but it looks like that confusion about the sort of half removal of the code 60 a couple of minutes ago has claimed a victim.
No, I think, Nick, what's happened is that the code 60 ended, that incident happened, and then that brought out the code 60 again. But what it does seem to suggest is that one of the Ferraris, possibly the Ram car, had seen a green flag before Dominic did. Dominic still warming up his tyres in preparation to go green, and was struck by the Ferrari. Sort that one out. It might be worthwhile nipping down to Ram Racing and trying to have a word with Johnny Morland while that car is being fixed as well, because quite clearly that was a substantial impact. 12 seconds is the gap at the head of the field. Stadler Motorsports Porsche ahead of the BMW of Saudi Falcons. The night skyline of Dubai in the background for the 8th running of the 24 hours here at the Dubai Autodrome. And Paul, it's again one of those situations where we've all got to settle ourselves down after that code 60.
Yes, I mean, I'm hopeful, ever the optimist inside me, that the number of code 6s will reduce as attrition starts to take its toll. We get less cars out there. These things tend to have a little threshold. Above the threshold, you get lots of incidents, and below the threshold, you don't get any at all. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it will settle itself down, because it's very difficult for the race to form a pattern when it's being interrupted by these code 60s all the time. And I'm sorry if the race sometimes then seems to get boring, but it establishes its pattern, and then you can build the excitement into it.
We should say we're not criticising code 60 here, because they would have been a safety car had there not been code 60 or you know, full course caution or whatever. It's just we have had more incidents this year that have required the race to be neutralised than we had last year for the whole race.
Yeah, and I think possibly, if there is, this is not a criticism, it's a comment, that 80 cars is a lot of cars for this length of circuit. No, I mean, it is interesting, and you were saying earlier on that you thought there might be something wrong with that Stadler Motorsport Porsche, the number 20 car that leads the race. And Inaikin has been able to reliably do laps in the 2 minutes 5s, 2 minutes 6s, but since that last Code 60, he's not been able, or the Code 60 was withdrawn and we've been back to full green flag racing, he's not been able to even break the 2 minutes 9 barrier. I haven't seen a 2.8 go through. And as a result of that, Dirk Muller has been closing to the point where I suspect this next time through we're going to see the BMW pretty much on the tail of the Porsche. I'm looking out of the window to see whereabouts they're going to be coming through. And there goes Inaikin through now in the number 20 car. And where is the BMW with Dirk Muller at the wheel going through now? And the gap is 6 seconds. Meanwhile, Rob Barth is out at the wheel of the number 88.
And 6 seconds the lead. We've also got a decent battle for 6th position where Rob Barth in the 88 Dragon Racing Ferrari is being closed in on by the Kraft Aston Martin of Daryl O'Young. Now, Daryl is a pro class car, so he can drive as quick as he wants. He's down in the 205.5s at the moment. Rob Barth, having used a couple of jokers already, is doing 208s. I suggest that that is in traffic because Rob can get much closer at the 205 than that. But he hasn't got to be drawn into that battle. That's what Paul said earlier, and that's the mistake. It must be so difficult for a racing driver. And there is our leader out in the darkness, easily spotted from the front with that white illuminated band at the top of the windscreen, and the almost looks like it's an ambulance or a fire truck or something coming towards you with the red bits on the outside. If anybody says Mr. Whippy at this point, I will punch them.
I was going to say something about ice cream vans, but no, it's
the world's fastest ice cream van.
It's certainly distinctive, and it makes it easy for that car to pick out that car. His last lap before I get
that's better.
told was a 2 minutes 5. But that is the first decent lap he's done since we've had the green flag once again. As again looking out of the window for that car to come by us, and it's trying to hold on to its lead ahead of Dirk Muller. Yeah, another 2 minutes 5 and a 2 minutes 5 as well from Dirk Muller, so the gap comes down a tad, but only a tad. It's come down from just over 6 to 5.7 this time. And Blake Molan and Steve Jans in the 2 Black Falcon Mercedes going through, and they're still a threat in this race. They've done more pit stops, and that's part of the difference between pros and AMs. The AMs don't have to do as many pit stops, but the pros have done the more pit stops, and her own Blake Molan in the number 1 Black Falcon Mercedes has done more than anybody else.
Yeah.
At 6, not more than anybody else I should say, but more than anybody in the top 6 at least, because there's been 7 done by the Japanese Lamborghini.
The guys were hoping that they might be able to save a couple of pit stops over the course of 24 hours. At the moment, the Stadler Motorsport guys have saved 2 pit stops in the first 1/6 of the race, and that with all of that Code 60 running.
Well, so it is because of the Code 60 running that they've saved the pit stops, because they've made the strategical choice not to come into the pits during the last 2 Code 60s.
Thank you, that's a very good point. Yes, my brain's gone to sleep.
It's a matter of strategy choice whether you come in under Code 60 or not. You don't have to come in just because, but everybody tends to, purely because you lose less time refueling when there's a Code 60 than when there's no Code 60. However, if you don't need to refuel and you end up coming in and just putting 40, 50 litres in, then all you're doing really is wasting the time that you could be spending going around slowly and losing track position while you're doing it, because a pit stop for fuel, even under code 60, is still going to take 3 minutes.
Yeah. Code 60 was a source of much discussion between ourselves and the listener and the viewer last year, and there's still some people who are just switching on to this year. Rob Janer, who's a regular with us on Radio Le Mans and our endurance broadcasts at radiolemans.com, who is at Rob Race Marshall, which gives you a clue as to what he does in motor racing. And he's tweeted at Specutainment saying, "I love Code 60. It's way better than a safety car, and certainly safer for marshals working, for the simple reason there are no cars speeding around trying to catch the pack." And I think, you know, it's easy for us, Paul, to sit up here in almost literally our ivory tower and forget about the guys who've got to do the clean-up. And that's a very valid point that Rob makes there, because nobody has got to try and come out the pits on cold tyres and whiz around the track and then possibly drop it in a situation where people are having to work.
Absolutely. And I mean, let's remember, why do we have a neutralisation of the race? Let's call it that, because it covers all different types of ways of neutralising the race. The reason that we have neutralisation of the race is to enable the marshals to get to a car that's in difficulties, to repair a barrier if it needs repairing, in order to preserve the safety of the racetrack. You know, it's not that we have neutralisations to make the racing more exciting, although there may be some people in America who would disagree with that. But the reason for having the neutralisation is to establish the safety of the racetrack again. And what it does as well is to avoid the situation where you get a lot of cars close together, which you have to somehow then release again into a racing environment. And although what Code 60 hasn't managed to do is to make sure everybody goes at the same speed. It does in theory, but it does mean you get little clumps of some cars that are doing 55 and others that are doing 62. And then you get this little clump of cars which suddenly goes off together, and possibly you get situations like that was being described there by Dominic Baumann in the BMW pit. When you rejoin the race, then you often get incidents. But when you have safety car situations and them all queued up, it happens inevitably.
Andy Blackmore's made a valid point. He said he thinks it's a great idea, but because of the fuel station, it slightly modifies how successful potentially it could be, because the reason some teams benefit or lose for the Code 60 is because of the pumps rather than the Code 60 itself. I'd agree with that. Just 3 seconds between the leaders and just half a second between Rob Bath and Darrell O'Young. We'll keep an eye on what's going out on the track as we go down to the number 20 pit, and Stadler Motorsport still out there, but only by 3 seconds, and Nick Damon.
6 hours in, almost just about a quarter of the way through. Did you think you'd be leading at this point, Marco?
No, to be honest, not. Just itself by the fact that we are participating in the M class, so we are not allowed to go below 2:05. We didn't expect that, but we had a little luck at the beginning, and now we can keep the pace.
And the interesting thing is, the entire team, Marco, none of you have yet played any of your Joker laps, so are you finding this easy, this 2:05?
Not really, right. We give up one Joker so far, but it was really not on purpose. But we try to keep then really up till it's less traffic out there. We guess tomorrow morning, early morning will be better. And then we try to shoot maybe a few laps. But to be honest, we didn't expect to go for overall, and our focus is on the M class. And now we just try to keep the speed up and stay out of trouble.
I mean, the thing is, though, the chances are you've got a good chance of winning overall, because if you keep going this way, you're going to save more pit stops, and every 6 hours could be like the last one.
Yeah, that's true, but we still think that the pro cars, when it comes to the early morning and throughout the night, they are quite experienced there. And as you can see now, Dirk Müller was catching up quite fast, and we won't get any headaches to keep up with the pros. So maybe we have some luck and keep it there. If not, we are fine and go for the M.
Marco, it's a very fantastic 6 hours. Well done, and who knows what happens the next 18.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
Nick Damon down in the Stadler Motorsport pit, and Rolf van Eyschen has pulled out there a 206.5 to a 207.8 on dirt Muller. I mean, it's going to happen like that, and you know, fair play to these guys. And I think, I mean, Rolf's done an hour and 22 at the moment, and we wondered if they might have pulled him in at the last code 60. This has been a very, very good stint. He hasn't always been able to do those 205s, 206s, but he's not, from what we've seen, Paul, been taking any chances in traffic, and clearly you can't do that if you are you know, trying to get to the end of the race. The guys who are pushing so hard, then okay, they'll take a few more risks.
It's a funny thing, isn't it? When that interview started, I was trying to draw your attention to the fact that Dirk Muller had closed down to within 2 seconds of the Stadler car, and then by the time Nick had finished talking to Marco Seefried there, it had gone back out to over 4 seconds again. So you know, I said earlier on it'll be like a concertina, and it is. It's going in and out, and it's at the moment on a situation where Eichen was able to lap more quickly. I'm put in mind, do you remember in the mid-90s, mid to late 90s, when at Le Mans they ran GT cars, or so-called GT cars, and prototype cars. They were in 2 different classes, but then the Dower Porsches turned up in the GT class, and I can't remember who the interviewer was, but he was interviewing Hans Stuck and said, hey, do you think you can win this race? And Hans Stuck said with a perfectly straight face, oh no, we're only interested in the GT class, we're not looking for an overall victory.
And they drove away from the field.
And yes, they then, it wasn't Stucky's car that won the race in the end, but and I think there's a similar sort of situation here. You know, at this early stage in the race, I mean, we have only had a quarter of it, not even a quarter of it. The concentration is purely on let's stick to the game plan, let's stick to our laps. If the race comes to us, then we'll see. But let's not worry about winning the race overall at the moment, because that will not help the strategy of the race. Let's just carry on and see what the situation is like at 10:30, 11:30 tomorrow morning.
Rob Barth in the 88 car on the screen at the moment has just lost 6th position to Darrell O'Young in the Aston Martin, and that's the car with the green flash up the A-pillar right in front of him. And Rob, he's not giving that up easily, is he? He needs to find a couple of seconds, but he mustn't be drawn into a real battle, because they've used 4 jokers on that Dragon Racing Ferrari already. 2 cars with green flashes on them, one on the side pillar, one on the top of the windscreen shade band, going down into the hairpin at turn 10, is that?
Yeah, that's it, the hairpin at the end of the straight. I haven't learned all my corner numbers yet, I have to admit. Yes, turn 10.
Yes, it was. Now through 11 and 12. Is that you, Paul? Dish Network calling for Paul. And now we can see in the better lit part of the circuit the colour scheme of the Aston Martin and the bright red Ferrari of Dragon Racing, as that is the battle, as I say, for 6th and 7th position. Jerome Blegemolen must be very, very close to unlapping himself here. Dirk Muller still 4.5 seconds. 2:05.6 by the lead car last time, 2:05.9 by Dirk Muller. This is a great end of stint from Rolf. He's been in there for an hour and a half. I'm not sure how much longer that car can go without fuel, Paul.
It will have fuel enough. I expect to take it pretty much up to in Eichen's 2 hours. My theory was with the slower laps that it was a little bit to do with tyres, because I suspect the temperature outside is dropping a little bit, and I suspect that as a result of the temperature dropping, the tyres are going to have to work a little bit harder. And with there just being the one tyre supplier, although Dunlop are providing all tyres to everybody, I think what might be happening is that it's difficult to get some heat into the tyres.
Yeah.
That's just the theory. We'll see what the drivers say as and when we speak to them, and Nick has an opportunity to interview them. But there was one thing that Marco Seefried said which was interesting, which was about using the jokers. He rightly admitted that he'd already used one joker.
Yeah, that was my fault. I gave Nick bad information.
But it was but it was an accident, and he was quite clear about the fact that it was an accidental use of the Joker. But he made it very clear that as the sun comes up and we get to this what's always called happy hour in the early hours of the morning when it's just daybreak, and that's usually when the track is at its fastest, that they would probably just throw some deliberate Joker laps in. And not worry about the fact that they were going to use them up. They've been given allowance to use them 10 times, and if they can dip underneath the 2 minutes 05 3 or 4 times by a few seconds, then it's worth doing. If you're only going to dip under it a little bit, it's hardly worth using the Joker.
No, exactly. I agree with that. The Ram car is back out on the pit apron, and Nick found out for us earlier on. I did mean to mention it, that was the car that had the incident that we were describing. It hasn't got its headlight on at the moment, guys. You need to tell whoever's in that to put the headlight on. It is a very well lit pit lane. There we go. Thank you. So they come on halfway down the pit lane. We're coming to the end of this segment of television. For those of you watching on broadcast television, just a quick reminder: www.24hdubai.com and radiolemans.com for full audio coverage during the hours that our television partners are away from us. There's no need to lose touch with the race. Live timing and scoring, some streaming pictures, and of course live audio from the radiolemans.com crew. We'll be going right through till 2 o'clock local time tomorrow. We do have significant coverage later on in the evening and through the morning hours. And we've got a couple of minutes before we leave you, and I just wonder if we might see a change for the lead and Dirk Muller fighting back. We are due to have a bit of a display for you before we leave, and some pyrotechnics in the air. We could be having fireworks on the track with Dirk Muller. Sorry, I had to shoehorn that one in. Dirk Muller just 1.5 seconds behind the leader, who is Rolf Nijsken in the Stadler Motorsport car. And as we wind up this portion of the broadcast, it has become traditional to see some action in the night sky. Oh. And on cue, it happens. Over towards the final corner. And as they come across the line in front of us, it is still 1.4 seconds across the line. So the what has now become traditional firework display in the air over turn 16. And there goes Rolf Nijsken underneath, and he's pulled out a little more time. 2:05.771. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far. Please refer to www.24hdubai.com for the rest of our transmission times with our television partners. But you can watch some streaming pictures there and listen to radiolemans.com, of course, for audio. My thanks to Nick Damon in the pit lane, Paul Truswell and Jim Roller, who've been with myself, John Hindhoff, as well as Florian and the rest of the team on the other side of the track, who have been making the pictures for us, which have been stunning in the darkness, I think you'll agree. So a quick rundown of the top three then. The Stadler Motorsports Porsche leads by 2.332 seconds as we come to 18 hours to go from Dirk Muller in the Saudi Falklands BMW in second place, the 24 cars. Jerome Blakemole in the pole sitting car, just a lap off the leading pair in third position for the number one Mercedes-Benz team. His teammate is 23 seconds further back in fourth position, and making up the top six, Mika Salo in the AF Corsa Ferrari. Another minute and 10 further back, Darrell O'Young has just taken sixth position in the 15 Aston Martin, the Craft racing car from Dragon Racing's Rob Barth, the second of the AM cars, in seventh position. And then it's Lamborghini number 19 in eighth, The 17 McLaren in 9th, and rounding off the top 10, it's the number 8 FARC Autotechnique Porsche.
Stay in touch as well as you can. I don't know if you got my text about seeing the number 9 Lamborghini long ago pull off right in front of me at turn 2. But
that was you.
Yeah, that was me. You know, it's that dreadful thing. I was thinking this is a good place to watch, and sadly he pulled over and joined me.
Did he?
But it's just that, you know, you come back in the pit lane. I knew from what Nick was saying about number 12, the BMW having the broken track rod, and but other cars have pulled off in the last half hour or so that I somehow have missed. I've just spotted in Garage 1B we have a Ferrari, which is the Talcanizza racing car, and that was still going strongly last time I paid sharp attention. But anyhow, it is the race that it is. They are working away on the number 12 BMW, and I'm sure that will be back in. Just to let you know what the temperature is in the pit lane, it's... Now I'm going to say that, it's not going to flash up on the GDL Racing. It's 21 degrees. It's a bit of a breeze, but not too bad. So let's see how this holds through the night. But certainly the temperatures being lower today than expected have been very, very kind to the crews indeed. And just waiting to see who's going to be the next one into the pit lane. Hard to tell, but it's good to be back. And I always love 24-hour races when you get into the dark. And this race, as we discussed yesterday, should have more dark running than any other 24 race that we go to.
14 hours of dark running, and that is pretty much the most that we ever see. So that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's certainly when the pits are at their most magical. It's a fabulous time at Le Mans, but obviously it's limited because it gets dark so late.
And for such a relatively short time. I mean, the first time I went to Le Mans in 1988, after having done the 24 hours of Daytona many times, it was shocking to me. I mean, I'd always been told, but you don't really realize and believe it until you see it for your own eyes, just that at midnight it is still dusky sometimes. You know, it's about full dark by midnight. By 11 o'clock, it's still dusky, and then it starts to dawn about 5 o'clock. So it's very, very short night time.
Yeah, so by the time the photographers have got their sunset shots, their night shots, they almost have to come straight back to do their sun up. But it's good to see them working.
Exactly. Bruce Jones down in our pit lane, and he's in the know with Intercontinental Hotel Group. And taking a short break is Nick Damon. He's the other of our pit reporters. So Paul Truswell is back in. Paul, we were talking just briefly about the Code 60s. You had on your pad, how long have we been under Code 60 in this event so far?
97 minutes. That's,
97 minutes.
Over an hour and a half. Which, as I say, in six hours exactly, is a fair old proportion of time, and I think it has contributed greatly to the fact that only just on that last lap has the AM car managed to get itself back into the lead. And
well, actually, the Pro car is now.
Sorry,
Dirk Mueller has.
Yes, I misspoke.
Dirk Mueller has made the pass and now holds a 9/10 of a second lead over Rolf Inishkin. So it's Dirk Mueller, Rolf Inishkin, Jeroen Bleekenmolen now, still trying to get his lap back.
And that Stadler Motorsport Porsche number 20, what we ought to get one of the pit crew to do is to actually get the precise pronunciation of the lead driver there. I say Inishkin, you say Inishkin, but we'll work it out between us, and eventually one of the pit reporters will get it right for us. And
you say what?
Inishkin.
Inishkin? I can adjust. You know more German than I do.
I'd go for Paul's pronunciation. Yeah. E before I, you pronounce the I. I before E, you pronounce the E.
But the Swiss have a whole set of rules of their own, which are completely incomprehensible to German speakers, without any being rude to any Swiss speakers.
Yes, but you need to listen to my mother-in-law speaking in Swiss Deutsch.
My wife is a native German, and she can't understand Swiss German.
And of course you always have Ladinish, which is the Italian Swiss German, except, just over the border, that disputed. And then you've got what they speak around Stuttgart. That's very different as well, isn't it?
Well, yes, that's yes. There are different accents of German, just as we have our own different accents of English, don't we, Jim? But at least
yes,
we try and make ourselves comprehensible. Now, in Eichen, we've been talking about him. He's taken the lead back. We've got to add another lead change because he on that lap, 2 minutes 5.429. Remember, in Eichen is not racing Dirk Muller. In Eichen is racing the clock. He has to set a lap of 2:5.429. He must not get involved in a motor race because otherwise he'll mess it up. But at the moment, all he has to do is to do 2 minutes 5.429. But Dirk Muller, 2 minutes 7.801. So that was enough for him to be slower. We've got news from the pits because car number 7, I hear, Bruce.
Well, the news I wanted to impart was that car 12, they're working hard on rebuilding that the front. Fixing the toe link that's gone back out to the track. I didn't see who was in it because it seemed some distance away from being fixed when I walked past their garage about 3 minutes ago. So that's a car that's featured strongly in the race. Definitely a setback. The collision with the Ferrari, either when it was still under Code 60 or just as it changed, we don't know. But certainly the BMW driver Dominic Baumann was very much of the opinion he was hit before they'd been released to go back to full speed. Back in the race though, car number 12.
When he comes out of the pits, we'll give you an update on that, Bruce. Right now, his transponder is blank, but he's in the fuel area, and normally when they come out of the fuel area, and they'll cross that transponder line at the end of pit road, and that'll tell us who actually got in the car. So, yet another lead change. What is that now, 11 or 12?
Hang on, I need to go to the other screen for that. We have 24 and
so
20 is 12, exactly right.
12 lead changes. And those were about 2 laps apart.
That's right, yes.
I should just mention as well that Rob Barth has dropped back some 7 seconds now from Darrell O'Young since that position changed. We've got Danny Verkman in the number 133, which is one of the A6 AM cars. And he is closing in on Morgan Jones for 11th position. The 133 being the V8 Racing BV Netherlands Corvette, and he's just 2 seconds behind there. And that is a battle for position, albeit some 5 laps off the lead lap. But Morgan Jones in the Pressy Spark Mercedes-Benz is being closed in on, and a rate of knots actually took better part of 2 seconds out of Morgan last time around, so that's a little battle that we'll have to keep our eye on the timing and scoring screen. And Mika Salo has gone up into 4th as well. I missed that happening. He's splitting the two Black Falcon Mercedes-Benz.
Yes, he's been there, John, since the last Code Purple went green.
Really? Wow.
Whilst the pit stop was taking place and Leon Price was handing back over to Rob Barth, so that was when Mika Salo was able to take over in 4th place, because prior to that the number 88 Dragon Racing Ferrari had been up there in 4th place, and now Mika Salo has taken that place, but Steve Jans has not been lapping quite as quickly. Sorry, he was in 4th. I apologise. Yes, I was. I missed that. He's got ahead of Steve Jans, hasn't he? So he's been lapping more consistently, and has been able to move that one nicely up the field.
Rob Barth with a 2:05.5 last time around. That's exactly what they need to keep doing. Rolf with a 2:05.4 and then a 2:06.1. That's perfect. Yeah, he stays 1.2 seconds ahead. In fact, it goes out to 2.8 seconds ahead. He's stretching that lead, and you've got to say he's an hour and 3/4 into his stint. He's only got 15 minutes to go. I mean, not to wish ill on anybody else, but the Stadler guys will be dying for a Code 60 right now.
Oh boy.
I'll be just thinking you guys know, particularly you, John, will be more able to tell me how cars handle when you lower the ride height. Dirk Muller's having to run with this 55 millimeter ride height at the front, 65 at the back, whereas the Porsche has got free ride height. Now, is that meaning that the car is better handling and is therefore better able to deal with the traffic, and therefore might be explaining why he's able to put in the quicker lap times?
It will certainly change how it works the tyres, and that's a very, very good point, that you are compromising the optimum setup of the 24 car, which is quite a nimble car in fairness, but raising a car's ride height, you raise the roll centre of the car, you raise the centre of gravity of the car, and the way all of that works means that changing direction, Jim, is not going to be the same as if you had the car set up exactly right.
And you're not going to be able to keep as much heat in the tires, and it doesn't sound like a lot, 55 millimeters, but it can be significant. And I think Paul's hit on something exactly, because the Anishkin car, the number 20 Porsche, has been able to work traffic and keep a little bit more consistent lap times. Miller has been doing 2:05s, maybe a high 2:04, and then this most recent lap a 2:07.7. So he seems to be taking more time through traffic than the number 20 car.
Yeah, and as I say, there's...
And I think the same is true for the other pro cars.
Yeah.
I think you see that Bleekemolen, Salo, Jens, they're 2:06, 2:06, 2:08. And then Daryl Young with a 2:04, so that's a pretty good lap. But then you get down to Rob Barth, the other AM car, which is just trying to hit as close to a 2:05 as he can. He's at a 2:06.4. So...
Yes, I mean, the cars with the reference lap time don't kind of jump out at you on the screen as you would expect them to somehow. This is, again, all credit to the guys at Creventic and the technical guys at Creventic who have managed to put these regulations together, because they have got themselves some very astute technical people who have got some very good things running for them.
Rob Loudon is listening to us talk about lap times and joker laps. He says, this is my first time. He's tweeted in on @Specutainment. He says, I'm not really sure how that works. Can you just give me a quick explanation? Yeah, sure, not a problem. The pro cars at the head of the field are not limited, but they do, as Paul just said, run slightly heavier, have a slightly different fuel allowance in terms of how much they can put in the car, and they have a higher ride height as well. The A6 AM cars run to a target time of 2 minutes and 5, and the rest of the classes have target times as well. This was put in place a few years ago because this was essentially I was going to say clubman's race, that's perhaps not quite right, but it was an enthusiast's race, and it was to discourage somebody turning up with 3, 4 or 5 pro drivers and effectively buying the victory of the race. Endurance racing, in the minds of the organisers here, Crevendic, is about endurance and about repeating your lap time and being consistent, not just being able to drive off into the distance because you've got more money than someone else. And that's why you see such an eclectic mix of cars here, I think, racing even within the classes, never mind between the classes. And the Joker laps, basically, you are, if you go below your target time in the A6 AM category, it's the only category that has it, Robert, you have 10 occasions which you can break out of your bracket. I use that term because that's something I'm familiar with talking about in drag racing, where effectively it's a handicap system, if you like, and in drag racing it's put there to reward the people who have the best reaction times. If you can repeat over and over again a very good reaction time and a steady run down the track, and you can react quicker to the light than the guy next to you, even if he's got a car 5 seconds quicker than you, you get a 5-second start on him. So that's the whole point of how it works. So if you break out of your bracket, you have 10 opportunities to do so before you are penalised here, but only in the A6 AM class. Everybody else has an absolute lowest lap time that they can do, and if you break through that, then you get a drive-through penalty. In fairness, we see it seldom happening for any of the other classes other than the cars at the head of the field, because it's normally set at a level that is very difficult to attain on a regular basis.
Part of the reason, John, is that the A6 reference lap time is deliberately done so that it's the sort of lap time that could be expected from an amateur gentleman driver, and it's above the lap time that would be expected from a professional driver. If a professional driver can't beat the reference lap time, then maybe he's not as good as a professional driver as he thinks he is. Just looking at on the screen there of the recovering BMW number 12, which is coming back, having had that long pit stop that it had following the accident.
He's not in the top 42 yet.
No, he's 41st actually, according to my list, and the pit stop that he had was 10 minutes and 48 seconds.
Who's it showing in the car?
It doesn't say.
Who's that? Which
the
car?
number 12 car.
Pop your scoring one more page. Go to page 3, please. Dominic Schweiger.
That's who brought the car in. That's who brought that car in.
Okay.
And he got out of the car because Nick talked to him. I don't know if he
might not have.
No, it was Dominic Baumann who.
No, you're right. It was Dominic Baumann
in the car.
Yep.
Yeah, good call. Let's go down to the pit lane. Bruce, who have you got for us?
Well, I've got a driver, Pierre Ere, who's just explaining that driving a Code 60 isn't as easy as you think. You've got to work pretty hard, Pierre.
Yeah, it's actually very hard because you have to get your mind down to the speed consistently, lap after lap, and then the team tells you constantly to keep the tires warm. So you sit in the car and you move the front wheels like crazy, and as a matter of fact, I got sick, like I'm going on a windy road. So I had to find a happy medium between keeping the tires warm and not throwing up.
But in between, how's the Dragon Speed Audi handling?
The Audi's handling very, very well. I mean, compared to some of the Porsches, I can definitely feel they don't have the power. But the brakes are tremendous. I can catch some people on the brakes, and it's very good. I mean, it was very nice to drive. At the end, the tires kind of went a little tired, but overall, it was a good stint.
But next time, no Code 60s?
I hope not. I hope not.
Okay, thanks, Pierre. Go and get dried off. Eric Lux has taken over the car. And one thing, John, all best laid plans. We know a Code 60 can interrupt and you can fail to get to the fuel station at the right time, but car 133, the V8 Racing Corvette, was running just outside the top 10. I think it ran out of fuel, and it then had to be pushed the whole way down the pit lane. Every minute it was not only being an obstruction down the pit lane as the mechanic shoved it, but obviously the time was ticking away. So on these little things, a good performance can be wasted.
Oh dear. Pierre Ere, Eric Lux, former American Le Mans Series races as we have another change for the lead, and a big change there now. That's Rolf van Eycken's come into the pits.
Yeah,
he was getting close on time anyway, whilst Bruce hustles down to the 20 pit to see where there'll be a driver change there. This from Paul S. Davies on the Midweek Motorsport Listeners Collective forum at radiolemans.com. Lower ride height doesn't necessarily improve the car's handling, but it does change the car's handling. 55 mil, which is what we're talking about, is an enormous change in ride height and will lower the road centre and centre of gravity, making the car more nimble. However, lowering the ride height will also increase lateral load transfer during corner, increasing tyre wear, says Paul.
Or keeping the heat
putting the heat into the tyres.
Right.
And with these,
it increases wear, it increases heat.
Yeah. But you would set the car up differently with camber as well for a lower ride height or a higher ride height, because you'd still want to, you're trying to get the camber consistent through the way the car corners. You're setting the car up on the flat patch and making sure that you've got everything the way you wanted to, getting the rear toe in and things like that. When you change the ride height, all that goes out of the window, so you've got to start from scratch again on that. Right. You can't just change one thing in isolation and say, let's put the car up 55 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's 2 inches.
Right.
That's huge.
Right.
I mean, when we talk about, all right, in prototypes, you talk about a 5...
There's a whole domino effect.
Oh, yeah, you talk about a 5 mil change on a prototype. And even on these GT cars at 1,300 kilos, something, you would never move it an inch, never mind 2 inches.
2 inches, yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
You do it in tiny little steps, Jim. And it's very interesting to me how this has worked, and I do think it keeps the teams on their toes, because it's clearly taken some of these very, very good teams, Paul, out of their comfort zone, where they've been... Oh, there's a touch! Just as we're talking there, we were on it on the TV screen as well. That's one of the BMWs. It's the Divas. It's the leader. The leader in the category, and it's broken a steering arm. There was a tap from the car as they were being overtaken. That is disastrous for the A3T leaders. Oh, the 121 car, the BMW,
is led for a long time.
They've had a great run. It's Lisette Brahms at the wheel, and James Kay was closing in on them, and will go by in a moment in the number 90. This was about 90 seconds behind. That's just, I think, running down to the final corner. I'm going to see if I stand up, I'll probably be able to see it. Yes, it is. There are the bright white lights. A lot of people diving into the pit lane here as they see that car.
I bet the contact was with the 130 car then, because the 130 car came just across the line right after that spin. So I would suspect that might have been the 130.
They were being overtaken, and the car that overtook them just clipped the right front wheel. And from what I'm seeing there, I'm guessing, and there's a yellow flag going out, you can see just at the top left-hand side of the TV picture there. I think that may have broken a steering arm. BMWs have very long steering arms. You get a lot of lock on a Beamer, which is why people like them for drifting. It also means you can run a lot of camber on the car, funny enough, when we're talking at the front.
Exactly. Just to update a couple of quick pit stops while we sort out what's going on with the number 121 car. The 20 car is in the fueling area, but Mika Salo and Steve Jens have both moved up one position because Sean Edwards brought the number 1 car in for a fuel stop. That's the Mercedes. He has now dropped down to 7th position.
But Mika Salo himself
is now in the
pits, as is also the number 2 car, Steve Jans.
So we should see, and also the number 15 car, Daryl Young, has come in the pits. So
we're still under green, by the way, guys. Still under green.
Still under green. Now the 20 car with Marco Seifried.
And the race leader is in the pits as well. Dirk Muller has come in. They're going to do a full change. I can see that one from here. They've got tyres available. And
I wonder if the guys didn't want to get caught out if this is going to be a Code 60, and so they all came to the pits.
It's got to be, because they can't get the snatch vehicle over to that side of the track without crossing the track. Let's go down to the pit lane and get in the know with the Intercontinental Pit Lane reporter, which is Bruce Jones, and Rolf van Eycken is with him.
A lot of noise behind Rolf van Eycken. What a fantastic drive you had. In the lead of the race, still now 6 hours into the race, but it's very close. But you're in an AM car.
we are happy that we are now at number 1, but the race is still long, so we will see what happens in the end. We had good luck at the moment.
But you've been staying, I think you've only used one joker so far. You're saying close to 205, and only once have you gone beneath it, so that's good management.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to manage with these jokers, because the faster cars they are pushing from behind, then you have to be very careful that you are not too fast.
Now, who's taken over the car? I didn't see.
Now Marco Seyfried is taking over, yeah.
Okay, good luck. Great drive so far. Stadler Motorsports, Rolf in Eichen.
It's interesting to me, John, that the 24 cars we were talking earlier, along with the 15 and the 1 car, which were the cars we saw battling in the first hour, the 24 car has been back in the hunt for a while after losing 2 laps on the first Code 60 when everybody kind of messed up the pit stop rotation. And the 15 car now is sort of in the, it's right around the top 5, but the 1 car has not been able to make up the 2 laps. It has struggled to. I mean, it's definitely back in contention. It's definitely back in contention. It's gotten very close, but it has not been able to. It hasn't caught a break, certainly.
Yeah. No, you're being slightly unfair on the 24.
Well, they caught that 1 break on the.
Well, yes, but that car wasn't the one of the BMWs that had the big problem when they had the first Code 60. Yeah, no, it was the number 12 that had the big problem.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And
I apologize.
So he had the break in as much that he wasn't pulled back as much on the first Code 60. But you're absolutely right in everything else you say, Jim. That was only that one small point. Everything else you say, I mean, there's no reason why he should have fallen so far back behind the number 2 Black Falcon Mercedes.
Of course, one of the things that hasn't helped is all the Code 60.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
Yeah, because they can't run.
Correct.
The pros can't be pros.
Yeah.
The pros can't do that pro thing.
The pro who is doing well.
That's the line of the week so far.
I'm continuing to be impressed. Is the Aston Martin, the crafty Aston Martin, the Craft Racing car that's being run by Mark Goddard and his team, doing a great job.
And a nod to Rob Barf.
Yeah.
Now, unless he's due a pit. Well, he's a minute 17 on this stint, so he's probably due
an hour 17.
Sorry, thank you. An hour 17 on this stint. So he's due a pit stop probably, but he has now taken over the AM class lead and is listed as 2nd overall as we go through the pit stop rotation. As now the 30 Ferrari makes the Ram Racing entry, the blue and white car makes a call to the pits, and it looks like the bonnet is coming off that car.
Oh dear.
Nope.
Well, they did have that incident earlier on, remember?
No, they were just reattaching the clips. I think they were just checking the clips, because that's all they did. They cleaned the windshield, checked the clips, and they've sent him back out.
Yeah, not sure who's at the wheel of that, because he dropped out of contention, didn't they, after that coming together.
We haven't seen a replay yet, have we?
No, it happened just at the end of the Code 60, down the back straight.
No, I mean on the 121, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, no, that one as well, no.
We're speaking in pronoun again.
And the 121 is still sitting exactly where it was on the run into corner 16, driver's left. As, how about this? Arkin Arca in the number 28 car, which is an A6AM car, 6th in category, down in 14th position. It's just done a 2:05.050. Now that is top stuff, and it backed it up with a 27 next time around. That is the Attempto Racing Porsche 993 GT3R. So it can't be a 993. 997. You see, I've seen 99 and just got 993 because I've got one. 997 GT3R, yes. Yeah, that's quality stuff by Arkin Arca.
And as things have started to shake out a little bit, the number 1 car is now in 4th position because of the pit stops that we saw. In 4th position on 7 pit stops. And again, looking at the strategies, the race leader currently is Claudia Hurtgen in the number 24 BMW on 6 pit stops. Then Rob Barf is second overall, first in the AM class on 5 pit stops.
And on the lead lap at least.
Oh yeah, definitely on the lead lap.
Possibly even better than that. I think he might come round in the lead this time around. I think the 88 car might be scored in the lead.
He might. And then the 20 car with Marco Seefried behind the wheel is on 4 pit stops. They have made the least. They've made the most fuel throughout this. And then Sean Edwards on 7 pit stops.
There are a couple of, and there is Rob Barth going through, scored in the lead as they go through. Take a picture of the timing screen down at Dragon Racing. The guys will be delighted. And 11.7 seconds the lead. Now he's going to have to give that up shortly because he's got a pit stop of his own, and they've stayed out.
But look at that time.
But they've also
5.369.
Yeah, he's got to do that now. He's got to do that now.
They've got a rescue unit over on the outside of the circuit there. They've obviously managed to find a hole in the fence. Whether they're going to be able to tow it to a place of safety or tow it across the track in order to get it into the pit lane.
I don't think that'll tow because of the broken steering arm on the right front.
It'll need a lift, a tow lift.
And I think we're going to see a code 60 here very shortly to get this car across the track, and Rob Barth needs to time it spot on to get it in.
Maybe what they're waiting for.
They're staying out there. They're waiting.
And again, this goes back to what Paul was saying earlier about having the option. Ooh, a 2:02.641 for Martin Regener in the number 8 Porsche. That's a joker lap.
No, well, that is a big joke.
Go big or go home, Martin.
Yeah, that's an AM car. I forgot that was an AM car.
But that's the way to do it. If you're going to use your joker, then you might as well get yourself 2.5 seconds.
You're going to hit it with a hammer. Don't hit it with a small hammer.
You're listening to RadioLeMans.com and our Powered by Nissan coverage of the Dunlop 24 Hours of Dubai. It's 8:30. Here in the United Arab Emirates, here at the Autodrome at Dubai. We're broadcasting on 87.6 FM around the circuit in the Motor City area. Don't forget the website www.24hdubai.com, and of course at Specutainment and at Radio Le Mans, as well as our forum at radiolemans.com. And out has come the code 60 as we expected, and that will allow Rob Barth to come in and make his pit stop.
Now, where is he?
So, RadioLeMans.com with our... How many code 60s now, Paul? Sorry.
This is 6, I believe, right?
This is the 7th code 60.
Seventh, I missed.
I actually counted 2 on the previous occasion because we had a very brief period of green in between, which may be why you've got 6, I've got 7, because there was that tiny little period of green, during which time we suspect that incident between the Ram Racing Ferrari and the Schubert BMW took place.
Right, whilst the cars come round in the pit lane, I suspect we'll see the 88 car coming in a moment. Let's nip down to the Intercontinental Hotel pit lane reporter Bruce Jones, who can bring us up to date and get us in the know.
Standing by a very gorgeous Aston Martin, but they look better at speed, Martin Beerschmidt. Car 140. Work going on in the front right-hand corner. What happened?
Yeah, not too serious, I hope. The car was running okay. As you know, we didn't make the start today. We tried to do a clutch overnight. We ran into some electrical problems, so I think we took off 3:20, so 1 hour 20 behind. Our strategy today was just to keep circulating. We were doing quite okay. In fact, we were battling with some cup cars. Obviously, guys don't know the track very well, which is our home circuit, so in the corners you can really just take them. They take you back on the straights. And back end of the back straight, turn 10 just then, and I'm sort of an hour and a half in the car. I said I can keep going for quite some time. There was a BMW, I think he's probably SP3 with us, and myself just in the slipstream. We got into the turn, we turned, and then bang, from sort of nowhere, like out of a blind spot. I thought I gave him plenty of room, but the Viper, I think the orange one, it just bang, hard hit to the front right wheel arch. I don't know what the damage is, but it looks relatively cosmetic. we always run with a bit of sticky tape on the front. Last year we had more than 1/4 of the car in silver tape by the end of the race, but we're trying to keep it clean. We've just got obviously such a big disadvantage from the start, so we'll just run and run and run at around 218s, 220 all day.
And you're one team more than any other who doesn't want any more Code 60s. You need to make up the ground.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I had, I think, maybe half an hour at the start there. There was 15 or 17 minutes, and then I think we did 3 minutes, and then I did another 10 or 12 minutes. So that's why I felt fairly fresh in the car. Traffic is not too bad. Generally, everyone's behaving themselves. That was just an unfortunate, as I say, just wish that you can avoid those ones. They come out of nowhere. You know, it's a tight turn. I think people could just hold on for just the 1 second and take you on the exit instead of the middle of the corner. But, you know, that's what people do. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Exactly. Tough luck. Martin Beerschmidt. And just to let you know, guys, they've been removing the inner wheel arch because that's been flapping all around. And behind us in the same garage is the Gulf Racing Lamborghini that I saw pull off at turn 2 at about 6 o'clock, and they're still replacing the gearbox on that. So not the happiest of pits at the moment.
Thank you very much. It is that time of the evening and the time of the race when it's very easy to make mistakes. We've already mentioned that this has the longest darkness portion of any of the 24-hour races, certainly that we cover, and with 14 hours of darkness, I'm not sure there's one that's any longer, Jim, if truth be told.
I don't see, I've been racking my brain when we were talking about it earlier, and I can't think of one that would even be close to that.
Rob Barth's gone through.
Yeah.
Rob Barth has gone through, which tends to suggest to me that they may have enough fuel in that car to... And he hasn't gone through.
No, he hasn't gone through. There's no green dot yet.
No, there's no green dot, you're right.
But Sean Edwards has come in the pits yet again for an 8th pit stop.
Those guys, their default setting seems to be, Bruce, come into the pit.
Could I do a quick interview, please?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
I have Marcus Winkelhock here, and unfortunately the 38 Seat's in the garage. What's the problem with it? The bonnet's up?
Yeah, first, after 1 hour, we had a little issue or a little incident. Mark got hit by another car, then we had to change the front wheel. And now we have an engine problem. We are standing here since almost 2 hours now in the garage, try to fix the problem, but we didn't find it yet. So let's hope that we find it, and then we continue. But the race actually is gone. I think we are piece 75 or something like that now.
Okay, Marcus is in the top 75. That's good news. Tough luck, Marcus. Hope to see you later.
They love you down there, you know. You are glass half full, aren't you?
Well, it's the only way to keep going, isn't it, John?
What is it they say, that the optimist is glass half full, the pessimist is glass half empty, and the engineer says the glass is the wrong size, I think is the way that...
Here's Rob.
And the scrutineer says the glass is the wrong shape. In comes Rob Barth from the lead, and well, I presume they've got to do a driver change here.
Yeah,
I think Matt Griffin will be getting ready, Thrapston's fastest Irishman. And that is... It is Matt Griffin going in, Bruce, is it?
Yes, it is, unless someone's an imposter. Just got here in time, so a very quick swap. As you'd expect, two drivers of their calibre to not muck around with the seat belts. They've done this many a time before. And the pit stop looks exemplary so far. I don't want to put a curse on it. Both doors are closed, just fitting the new rear tyres, and then I think off we will go again. So car 88, Dragon Racing Ferrari, really been having a good race so far.
25 hours of Thunder Hill, says Patrick Lindsay, runs 12 days before the winter solstice, and this is 20 days after. So the difference in darkness would depend on longitude.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Well, but didn't he say 25 hours?
Yeah.
So that maybe... Wow.
Wow, that's...
Boy.
14 hours of darkness is a lot of darkness, though,
yeah,
in
sure
fairness.
Is.
We're under code 60, whilst the Racing Divas BMW is being loaded onto the back of the flatbed. A smart move. The loading was done very quickly indeed, but you clearly couldn't have the flatbed driving across there. It's now turned around, and I presume we'll wait for a gap in the traffic to cut straight across into the pit lane.
Nope.
Unless there is a break in the outside wall down there. Where's he gone?
He's gone.
There he is. How can I lose a flatbed in the darkness? Oh, he's heading for the exits. They're going to have to pay to get back in again. Yeah. Oh, you've got it on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Roller. I'm trying to find it with the binoculars, and you're watching quite happily on the screen. Thank you. Yeah, you know where your friends are at times like this. So there is a return road that can be used. So once again,
that's the long way home.
It is the long way around, but you can double back around and come back in at the roundabout. Exactly. And I'm presuming that is what is going to happen. That's such a shame for the Racing Divas racing to also to shed some light and bring some awareness, I should say, onto the very debilitating and terminal ALS.
Insidious.
Oh, you said insidious earlier on. I thought that was a very good description. The disease ALS, which is a nerve disease known as Lou Gehrig's disease in the States, after that famous personage who, and in fact, probably brought that whole disease to prominence.
Nobody had ever heard of it before Lou Gehrig passed away from it, and that's what prompted the great speech at Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
When on the day of his retirement, and he got a standing ovation from thousands and thousands of people, and he said famously, "Today is the happiest day of my life." And
yeah, that was. I have seen that. I have seen and heard anyway the audio from that.
Yes,
heard the audio from that, and that is a remarkable piece of history. It's an awful disease. There's not very much known about it because it's not very well known, and I know that around the world people are always asking for money for good causes, but nobody knows whether there could be a cure for it because really there hasn't been enough time, effort, and energy, and frankly finances expended on having.
And annually, about 350,000 people have the disease.
Yeah, so and it's a death sentence. I'm afraid there's no other way to say it.
Your prognosis is about 5 years from give or take from diagnosis.
So we applaud the Racing Divas, and get on their website and find out a little bit more about ALS. And if you can help or you can donate, then it would be a great thing to do. And well done them for bringing it to prominence. Sadly, it has come about because one of the drivers in that car has a friend who's been diagnosed with the disease.
Yep.
And that's the sad side of the story. And we wish them the best.
But they're trying to make a positive out of it.
Yes, so absolutely, and that is something that is a smart thing to do. So we're coming up on 18 minutes to 9 o'clock. More TV coverage around the world with our TV partners in about 3 hours' time, just a little bit over. Coming up towards midnight here. And as it stands at the moment,
only 17 hours to go.
Only 17 hours to go. Yes, but that means we've already had 6.5, nearly 7 hours, haven't we? So,
it'd be more fun if there were 18 hours.
Yeah, well, it has been a remarkable.
It's been a great race.
Great race. So Matt Griffin is now behind the wheel of the number 8 car, an 88 car, and is back out on the circuit. He will have lost the lead during that pit stop, but that has been a fine run from the 88 car.
And we're not just being obsequious here when we say this has been a great race. This has been a great race, but not for any of the reasons I expected, because when we were talking about them taking the gloves off the professional drivers, as we go back to green, as the roar picks up, it's a beautiful sound. I thought we'd see great racing at the front, which we did in the first hour. But what we have seen is great racing with unbelievable amounts of strategy.
Yeah.
And that, to me, I mean, endurance racing to me is the thinking sports fan's game.
Yeah.
And to me, this has just been fantastic because the spinner right in front of the 17.
Clio Cup car, the 105.
Goes around right in front of this number 17 McLaren. Phil Quaife behind the wheel of the McLaren.
That 17 car has been near a number of incidents, but not yet being picked up by him. That's cold rear tyres.
Yes.
Because that is a front drive car that he's dropped in the middle of the hairpin at the end of the back straight. There is the 86 TTRS, which we really
89.
like. That the 89 TT. If it was the 86, he was upside down. That rear wing on that does look a bit like a pushchair handle, but it clearly is very, very purposeful. You know what I mean, though?
Yes,
it sticks out so far. It looks like somebody should be pushing it along more. I want a lawnmower.
It's like a pram almost.
Yeah, I want a lawnmower that shape. That would be very cool, wouldn't it?
Can we know
Andy Blackmore, by the way, points out that the Maxi Enduro, the 48-hour race, would have 2 nights in March of this year. Okay, that's fine, but we were talking about longest night in a 24-hour race.
Anorak.
Yeah, he's very good, Blackmore, isn't he? But I find him tedious sometimes. His attention to detail is,
it's impeccable is what it is.
Andy knows that we're joking. By the way, if you are just joining us, the Spotter's Guide for this race is up with all of the cars on the entry list. I am sure there have been many downloads already. We've got one in the studio, and it's splendid. A little bit different from what Andy normally does, because it's
he did it all with photos.
He did it with photos this time,
which actually is very time consuming.
I think it's almost as time consuming, if not more time consuming, than him drawing out the cars as he normally does.
Yeah. Now, just to update you on Matt Griffin's situation, he did come out of the pits and he has dropped to 3rd after his fueling stop. Only 3rd. So the running order is now Claudia Oetken in the BMW number 24, back out front on 156 laps. Marco Seefried in the AM A6 car, the number 20 Porsche, is 9.4 seconds behind, so he's actually closed up. Well, he's lost a little bit of time because on the last lap he was 2 seconds slower than she was. But her time was only a 2:07.620. So I suspect that's right when we went back to green. And then Matt Griffin, who is about a minute and 12 behind, maybe a minute and 21 seconds behind Claudia, and on the same lap. And then comes Sean Edwards, who is a lap down and 34 seconds behind Matt Griffin. And then Lorenzo Casse in the number 16 Ferrari is in 3rd position in A6 Pro and 5th overall. So that's how things shook out after the pit stops.
We haven't done the classes for a while. Now, obviously, Claudia Oetken leads A6 Pro, Marco Seefried leads A6 AM. It's Christian von Rief now at the wheel of the 44 Black Falcons Porsche 997, the number 44 car, on 149 laps down in 17th position. Joe Osborne has taken the lead in SP3 in the Ginetta, the number 143 car, just 3.6 seconds. Did that one already? Sorry, I'll come back to that one. Just 3.6 seconds ahead of Shane Lewis in the 148, which is the Evora. They're in 22nd and 23rd. Jim's pointed out that I've missed number 126, the Bonk Motorsport Corvette. How can we forget it? With Joachim Kisch at the wheel at the moment, and he's only 16.5 seconds ahead of the Luke Brahms number 98 car, which is next on the timing and scoring monitor. In 24th position is where we find the leader in A5, and that's the BMW, isn't it? The Silhouette car. Yes, it is. The Steve von Bellingen entered car. Harry Hilders is at the wheel of that. A3T now is just out on the circuit, and that's the Seat Leon Super Cobra with Wolfgang Kaufmann. No, it's not. I'm one up from there. Follow it across. Oh, but James Kay in the driving. It is. Yeah, I saw James Kay had been up there before. That's a very good run for that car and the A3Ts, and they of course now have gone ahead of the Divas after they've had that problem that brought out the Code 60 a wee while ago. A gaggle of class leaders down in the 45 to 50 sort of area, starting with the A2 class leader, which is the number 100, which is the Mini R58 Coupe the Lothar Sousmouth entered car. Now, that's the first time I can remember us calling that car's name.
Yes, that is.
Jim, so that's a change in the A2 category. Who's in second place there?
No, the last time you and I did this, the 100 car was
okay.
Yeah.
They're ahead of the 102 Besserplast car. Yes, right, you're right. The 102 Besserplast car, which has led for quite a while, is in second place and is almost, in fact, he is a full lap behind the leader in class. In D1, it's the 115 SVDP Racing, the UAE squad, as it has been for some time. And they've got quite a run on the nearest competition, some 3 laps ahead of their competition. In A4, Bernd Kuiper is still at the wheel of the E46 Coupe, BMW number 62, and I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
So we've got now all the class leaders within the top 50.
Yep.
It was within the top
50th.
60 last time
right.
we did that. So that's interesting, isn't it? You know, with the problems that people have, obviously that's going to happen throughout there. I'm intrigued in some of these class battles. There's 19 seconds between Kish and Brahms in 18th and 19th place for SP2.
And the 98 car has, they're on 5 pit stops. They had an extra pit stop for a problem, a mechanical issue early in the race, but they have fought back as well and have had an excellent run.
That's the McGann Trophy car, isn't
that's
it?
the McGann
show
Trophy
car, yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, that car has been quick when it's gone. They've had some problems.
And talk about a difference: a McGann Trophy car, and a Corvette.
Yes,
C6.
Well, that's what I was talking about. The variety, even within class, never mind within the field. Exactly. And somehow, Gary Willems and Gary Willems and all the guys at Preventic managed to get these cars and group them into classes and have a look. I have not a clue how what they're looking at in terms of the data that they must need to make those decisions.
They're from.
And when Paul Trustwell says
they're from Holland, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of sitting around in cafes working out what's potentially able to happen there. As the responsible adult returns, looking very happy with
just
herself.
in time.
Yeah. Don't forget, it's at Specutainment and at Radio Le Mans. As Kevin says, do you cover the 48-hour race as well? No. We would if we were asked. Unfortunately, it clashes with Sebring, which tends to... Eve's looking at me and says, have we been asked? Just this weekend, we've been asked to cover the 48-hour race. And Bruce from the pits, 48 hours in the pits, mate?
Sorry, the line's breaking up. And we'll stay broken until you say no.
We're dumb, we're not crazy, right, Bruce?
Well, the battle goes on for car 121. It's just come in on the dollies. In fact, two of the drivers found it at the back, and there was no crew to help them, and they pushed it off the truck. There was Gabby and Sandra van der Sloot came to get it. I'm going to see if I can get a word with Lisette Brahms and find out what happened. Let's just go and ask Lisette, what happened out there?
Well, I was just called into the pits, and then a Lamborghini was driving on the dirt side of the track. He was overtaking me, but there was no use because he was on the wrong side of the track. So I took a 360 and I was on the wrong side of the track. And so I couldn't get away. And my right front wheel, I think it broke or whatever. I don't know. They're going to find out now.
So they did a whole lap on the flat pad, on the truck, did they? Almost a whole lap to bring it back? It was a long time.
No, I didn't do a lap.
Okay.
I just had to wait there.
Yeah, but bringing it in on the truck. So, I mean, Sheila Bashir is all dressed up, ready to go, but it's going to be a long time, I think. But you were going superbly. You were leading the class, going so well.
Yeah, and I was really improving my time, but it was shame.
A big shame. I'm sure we'll see you out there. I know you're fighters. Good luck later.
So, Bruce, thank you very much. Pit lane in the know with the Intercontinental Hotel Group. And they have, what a great run for the Divas in that BMW. They were first for a long time, and then it all went awry coming together with a Lamborghini, as we've now found out. And so they will go to work, and it's going to be a while to fix that right front suspension, because it was, or steering arm, and that will be at least a half